Chris, I'm worried about today's show. Stugotz is hopped up on meds.
Oh, am I?
He's got a bad toothache.
Oh.
His face is not quite swollen, but he's been just like massaging the side of his face pretty continually. And him on drugs, more drugs than usual.
Right.
No bueno.
Or bueno, you never know.
Well, bueno for you, not
muy bueno.
No, not muy bueno for the rest of us. I'm also torn because I was very excited about talking about the disaster that Friday was for Meadowlark Media and myself. But so much happens that by the time we get in here, and Zaz is in here now, the Heat are now coming off of a 21-point loss. And so instead of celebrating, hooray, the Heat are in the playoffs, they saved the season, we have old, damp, limp Zaz in here, not filled with fire.
Hey, we can celebrate that. It's Pearl Jam week. I mean, I'm feeling great today.
And draft week. I mean.
Come on.
What's going on with you in draft week? Are you?
My tooth hurts.
Okay, so he's going to be out with a toothache. You're supposed to be in Tennessee for the draft.
Calling people soft. Yep.
Okay, calling people soft, and you might be out with a toothache. Those were bad games. Those were bad games over the weekend.
All of them?
I mean,
come on, Dan.
Except for Clippers Nuggets.
Oh, the Clippers.
Warriors Rockets was good too. Good game.
Was it?
Yeah. Heat Cavs.
Yeah, what are you nodding about, Zaz? Those were not good games.
Rockets Warriors.
Fun game.
Is my kind of basketball.
Yeah.
Take me back to 1997. That's my kind of game. I loved it.
You love defensive games.
Love a good
Who doesn't?
defensive battle.
Zaz,
Thank you.
Love it.
Zaz loves 6'3" football games.
Love the SEC. I love a knockdown, drag-out NBA playoff game. I don't need the games in the 70s, all right? But every now and then, give me a game in the low 90s. I love it.
Stop that. Stop that. Stop that. I hear him chat to the noise. Move too quick, can't stop for the talking. I hear him chat with the walking. Just too sharp with the prize. White girls let it tell me I'm awesome. Yeah, hot like fire on the pan. If you wanna touch my please use caution. Cold like 0 degrees. I'm out the cage, gotta let out the beast. Revolutionary, gotta let out the streets. Locked in a cage, I'ma let out the sheets. You came for one man, forget my peace. You take the west, I'll take on the east. I'ma put him in the cage, never let out the. Yeah, I hear him chat to the noise. Move too quick, can't stop for the talking. I hear him chat with the boys. Man so tough, but mans keep walking. Yeah, just too sharp with the prize. White girls, let it tell me I'm awesome. Yeah, hot like fire on the pan. If you wanna touch my please use caution. Stop that. Stop that. Stop that.
Let's talk about this for a second because that Golden State Rockets game is not the basketball I want to see. I don't want games in the 80s and 90s. I know you guys are all staring at me because you want to talk about the stardom of Jimmy Butler and Steph Curry. However, Van Vliet and Green going 7 for 34 for 2 free throws. Get out of here, Rockets. Go now. Take your entire season and get out of here. All of you can just go. We all know that's what you're going to be. You're not going to beat the best teams in this conference. Thank you for trying the entire regular season. But Van Vliet and Green, 7 for 34, 2 free throws between them. And also, Jimmy Butler, 5 steals.
Yeah.
5 steals.
That's why the Warriors were minus 190 headed into that series. I mean, I was asking Amin about it last week, but we found out after a game why they were the favorites and heavy favorites.
You like that? So Draymond Green's talking after the game. I wonder how Heat fans feel about all this because Draymond Green's talking after the game. That's championship pedigree saying, yeah, Jimmy calms us down. We got to get Jimmy the ball more late. Everything slows down. Jimmy scores 6 of his points in the last minute 40. It is crazy to me to watch that team in game 1 of its playoffs defer to Jimmy Butler on, he calms us.
I mean, not that team needs it, but he's kind of the adult in the room. Like, they know, hey, this guy right here is super comfortable. He's super serious. And I'll tell you, there were moments in that game I was like, I miss that. I remember that. I remember being comfortable when that guy had the ball.
I don't understand how it is that we've spent 2 seasons talking about Kuminga over there, and then they trade for Jimmy Butler, and Kuminga's a great asset, and he's top shelf, and we got to get him playing minutes, and never mind.
Funny thing is, he played really well against the Rockets this season. He averaged like 23, 24 a game against the Rockets, but he's just fallen out of the rotation completely. I was talking to Amin last week, and I was like, why is it that Kuminga just all of a sudden, who was such a good piece, is now gone out of the rotation? He's not playing. He's like, he's not plus at anything that he can do with Draymond and Jimmy on the floor. It's just he's an extra piece that fits the same hole that they play already.
And he's a free agent. He's got to be so
restricted,
mad.
Though. Restricted, so
all
it's
right.
tough.
He's got to be so mad, though. He's the DMP. He's going to be a free agent.
That's the thing with Kuminga and Jimmy, though. That's the difference, is Jimmy does everything well. He complements both Draymond and Steph in the way that he plays his game because he can allow Draymond to do different things defensively, Steph to do different things offensively, and then you can run everything through him, and he's a calming presence where Kuminga and his inexperience is part of the problem. So when you switch those two things, that's why the Warriors are willing to defer. They're always used to having another guy there who's an adult in the room with them. It just happens to be a guy in Jimmy who's one of the best postseason players around.
I'm going to do this again. A ton of bad games.
Bad games, what you gonna do when Dan Le Batard judges you? Tell me, what you gonna do? Hey, bad games, what you gonna do when Dan judges you?
Stugotz, when Jimmy Butler goes 25-5-5-5 with the 5 steals.
Yep.
Did anyone else in that game have 4 steals? Did anyone 5 steals in a playoff game where the possessions are mattering, and in that playoff game, one of the few that is in the 80s and 90s. To find yourself watching a basketball game, and Jimmy Butler is one of 3 players ever to have high-end numbers in playoff games. They're 25-5-5-5, the 5 steals as well. The other 2 are Jordan and Westbrook. For him at the end of that game to be in a locker room where Draymond Green is saying out loud, we need to get him the ball more on a team with Steph Curry.
Well, of course.
Well, but what do you mean, of course?
I mean, you got Jimmy Butler to give him the ball and give him the ball often. That's why you went out and got Jimmy Butler.
But you say, of course, the team has Steph Curry on it. To hear in a locker room afterward, the least calm player in the league saying of Jimmy Butler when he's played with plenty of calm. Saying that guy calms us because he slows everything down. He's going to get free throws. And he's in a game. Again, I'm going to say it. Van Vliet and Green, 7 for 34, 2 free throws between them. You cannot beat a champion that way.
But I think when Draymond says that Jimmy calms us, it's just having that second guy. Without Jimmy Butler, that team has no shot of winning an NBA title. With Jimmy Butler, that team is now more constructed the way it used to be. Although Jimmy is a very different player than Klay Thompson, they have a second scoring option on that team, and it's Jimmy Butler.
See, that's
and that
what
brings the team comfort.
That's what I think. I think it's not Draymond saying if we want to win, Jimmy has to have the ball. No, we need somebody other than Steph to have the. Like, it's not going to be Pajimski. It's not going to be Moses Moody. It's
not going to be me.
It can't. It's not going to be me. It can't be all Steph. Give Jimmy the basket. I think that's what it's about.
A couple of things that of course that's what it's about, but it's still there. Like, I understand. It's not, I'm not confused. I'm not confused.
I thought you sounded confused.
No,
you didn't know if Jimmy Butler's any good.
Yes, very confused.
No.
Yes.
He's good.
Yeah. I mean, you asked us.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate. Yes,
We're here for you. It's
yes,
Monday.
I appreciate that he's good.
Tooth is killing me.
Well, let's talk about this for a second because I've given you guys the stat before, which is an insanity. Jimmy Butler, 0 40-point games in his regular season career, 8 40-point games in the playoffs. To have the first game play out that way, because we're sitting here really, you guys understand, all of us do, what we're betting on. How many injections, how many knee things is he going to have to overcome? Because it always looks this way. Game 1, when he's fresh and rested and 35 and 5 steals. Then you start fast forwarding mileage on the body, what this stuff takes out of the body, and you're waiting for a breakdown. The bet between the Heat and the Warriors on Jimmy is, no, he ain't going to make it to the end of that. You know he's not going to make it to the end of that. And the bet the Warriors are making is like, just give us 7 or 8. Steph will take us the rest of the way. Just get us halfway there. And it's such an interesting bet on like how a window closes quickly because everybody's like, oh my God, by 50 they took out Memphis. They took out Memphis by 50. Like that team's here. That team can only be beaten right now by what you got Clippers, what you got Warriors, what you got old guys Lakers. It ain't going to get beaten by Houston.
Houston's done. Houston's done already.
You guys are done with the Rockets?
No. I'm going to blame Izzy Gutierrez. I'm going to blame Izzy Gutierrez.
Too high on that.
Because last week on Friday, he sang the praises of the Rockets. They're the great. Oh, my God, they're going to sweep the Warriors. They're incredible. He's like, Jalen Green's going to come out. He's like, Fred VanVleet's going to be amazing. And it's like 7 for 34, 2 free throws, like you said.
Playoffs are different, man.
Terrible.
Playoffs.
Oh, the Rockets, they're so tough. Like, that was their whole deal. They're tough guys. You'll win your tough guy games in the regular season. Everybody's tough in the playoffs. Nobody cares you're tough.
It feels a little bit Houston like Oklahoma City last year, just a year too early, overachieving
No
to be
SGA,
that
though.
good. No, and that's the difference between Houston and Oklahoma City moving forward.
The
is
MVP?
They have, well, right, but they have all of these incredible complementary pieces that are young. They have Şengün, who's a great guy to build around, but the question would become, if they end up going out in the first round to a veteran-laden Warriors, how do you handle the stockpile picks and all of these great young players? This experience is huge. Game 2 is a giant game for the future of their franchise, not just this season, but moving forward.
I mean, Udoka, I'm tough.
I thought you liked toughness.
No, he's done. Zaz, nobody cares that you're tough. You spit that. You are very.
Yeah.
You seem,
What? Playoff teams aren't tough? You're not playing the Hornets, all right? You're not playing the Wizards. It's the playoffs. Tough.
He's right. It's the playoffs.
He's right about everything that he says there. But the thing that I want to get to as it relates to the Rockets and the Warriors, because I think that the 2 games from the weekend, Clippers Nuggets, is going to be fantastic. It really is. And I heard one of you guys say in the middle of that, best player in the league, and it made me laugh seeing James Harden interviewed. And James Harden tells Rachel Nichols, yeah, we're all rooting for Shai Gilgeous-Alexander to win the MVP award. He should win it because of the season he had and the winning. But Jokic is the best player, obviously, and of course, like.
And he's had the better season, if you want me to be honest.
But the stupidity of that, right. Like just the sheer stupidity of like, yeah, Shai, give it to him because But yes, of course, Jokic is the best player in the world. Yes, but not even he hit the of course. It wasn't even like this is my opinion. He was just saying, no, this is a matter of fact. We've all discussed it. The rest of us are over here, and Jokic is the best player in the world.
Players in today's NBA constantly complain, right, about the analysis. They don't like the analysis on television these days. And James Harden's getting in front of a camera telling you, we know that guy is better, but we want him to win.
I mean, that's what happened with LeBron, right? LeBron was the best player on the planet, but we're going to give it to Derrick Rose anyway.
That's what's going to happen this year.
For sure.
And it's only so that Jokic, 5 years from now, we don't have to put him ahead of Jordan. Like,
who was doing that? Let's be honest.
Right, okay. Right. As an offensive player, I'd be willing to do it right now.
No, you wouldn't.
I would be. As an offensive player, I right now would be willing to say that Jokic is a better, more efficient offensive player than Michael Jordan.
My
Yes.
son just blurted out to me a couple days ago, is Jokic the best center in the history of the NBA already?
Yes.
And I thought about it for a second. I wanted to say I don't know.
He's not. I mean, that's the answer. Kareem, Russell,
No,
Wilts.
that's Allen Iverson. You're doing something here, Zaz. I understand. We're never going to actually give this to him. We're not. There's no circumstance under which America's going to be good with. Yeah, Jokic was the best at that ever. Like, there's nothing. He could win the next 10. We won't do it.
I didn't know what to say to my son.
You say no. I mean,
Yeah. Well, that's the easier way to do it.
Yeah.
Or I could try and tell the truth.
well, no, you're lying.
No, but that's the thing. See, it's better. It is much better to do it Toothaches way. If you do it his way, if you just teach your children, no, you don't explain anything, they don't learn anything, they go through life dumb. If you try to explain nuance to them, you're going to end up making the argument that Jokic is better than Michael Jordan offensively, and you're going to sound like an idiot.
Stugotz, how you feel about nuance?
What is nuance?
Zaslow, I want to get back to what happened Friday night.
What a night. Oh, man. God, let's go. What do you think Pearl Jam's going to open with on Thursday?
Oh, wow.
Zaslow is going to be working for money around here throughout the hockey playoffs. That's a big, giant win for Zaslow.
For no money.
No, he won the bet.
Nah, playa, I got everything.
Oh, wow. You got the money and you got the tickets. Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, he won the bet. So he gets a microphone, he gets money.
And my wife is happy.
He gets tickets. He gets a happy wife.
Big day.
So Friday was a logistical disaster, okay, for a number of different reasons. First off, and I didn't know any of this, evidently, when we go live at night off of something, the sponsorship on this and the evening costs a great deal of money. Like, to just get up and live, it's something that DraftKings does a very good job of selling. So I had to find a sponsor while we're sort of trying to navigate the logistical minefield of, can a corporation in 2025 make Zaslow an indentured servant publicly, where he is basically someone who has to work for me for no money and evidently no labor laws? Can we do that live? So it was a little bit dangerous. And I had to go, Stugotz, and do something I obviously never thought I would have to do, and certainly something that Miles over at the restaurant Prime 112 wasn't looking to do, which is I had to secure a sponsorship in like 45 minutes, and they're expensive. And so Prime 112 decided that they were going to sponsor what it is that we were doing, because they wanted to back the Heat and they wanted to back Zaslow's bet. And this is a restaurant that's been a giant in this town for a long time, but they've never done a sponsorship. They don't need to do that. It's the best restaurant we've got down here. And so they threw their whole backing behind big stakes. And I'm running late to get back there because I've got a car full of steaks that have been cooked for presentation.
He had so much meat.
I mean, what a car full of steaks.
Where'd you get the anaconda glizzy, by the way? What was up with that? You put that in your car?
This was an unusual amount of food to have in the car. Excellent food meant for presentation, but also there was a steak in there that's like $700. Like, there's some ridiculous steak. And so I make it to the finish line barely to get live on air with Samson mad at us and saying not to do it. And then Meadowlark loses in every way and Zaz wins in every way in overtime. Buddy was shitting himself.
Oh, I was so nervous, but I love the adrenaline. I love the agita it gives me. It's my drug. I'm a drug addict in that moment. I love it. It's the best kind of high for me when I'm nervous like that with either the Heat or the Panthers. And you got to see it on full display, which I wasn't terribly comfortable with in the moment because I don't think I've ever done that where everybody could see me living it. I came close a couple times to throwing the remote control through the television. But, listen, do you think Pearl Jam plays for 2.5 hours or for 3 on Thursday? It's going to be so great.
Shame on you guys, by the way. Amin El Hassan was here in Miami got on a flight, flew 6 hours, and then you guys sent him the link to do more show when he got home?
Yeah. And that's what we were going to do to Zaslow for no money. What we were going to do to Zaslow that caused corporate problems is the idea that in 2025, you can't exactly turn somebody, who is an employee into the equivalent of an indentured servant.
But why? I'm an adult. I'm not 14.
He agreed to the terms.
There are labor laws, though. I don't know, man. Don't ask me how it is that corporate things get in the way of every fun thing I try to do.
Can I ask you who got the $700 steak? Can I ask you that?
Your dog. Who ate it?
A friend of mine got it. No, I didn't eat it. I gave it to a friend of mine. Yes. That you just wanted to know that?
Well, I mean, we all wanted to know who got the $700 steak.
Would you have swung by his house if he still had it in the fridge after the show today?
Yeah, I would have. Yeah.
Not true in any way. Yes, my tooth, though, he says. What is going on with your tooth? What is the story of your tooth that you're saying? He's already saying, I'm not going to make it to the end of the show.
See, yeah.
I think I'm going to have to leave early. I've got an emergency.
Yeah, it is. It's shooting up all sides of my head, Dan. It hurts. I don't know. It's a classic toothache. A toothache is an underrated pain, is it not? I mean, I was thinking about this since yesterday, since I got the toothache, about some underrated pains. I actually have a top 5 here.
Hold on. We're not understanding the premise, though. Underrated pain means that it is a pain that is good?
No, it's bad. I don't think you think about a toothache until you have a toothache, and then you realize just how bad it is.
Okay, gotcha. So it's not like, ooh, this hurts, but it kind of feels good. It's like, this feels bad, but I didn't know how bad it would feel until I had it.
Right. You break a rib, you know it's going to hurt.
Right.
You think about it, you know it's going to hurt. With a toothache, it's something you never think about until you have it, and then when you have it, you realize, wow, this is the worst pain ever.
Yeah, but if you said that's a very underrated movie, that means, like, it's a great movie and people don't talk about it enough.
This is a great pain that people don't talk about enough, yeah.
But a great pain meaning a bad pain, not a great pain meaning a good pain, right? We're confused by what your premise is.
I think when you ask people what's the most pain you've ever been in, no one's going to say toothache. But if you ask someone who has a toothache, most pain you ever been in, they'll tell you it's a toothache.
Okay.
You don't know unless you're in it.
Okay, all understood and well put, but I still think our game is flawed because top 5 most underrated pains makes me feel like it's a pain someone would enjoy. You're saying it's not a pain.
These are pains that people don't talk, enough about.
Is there a pain that someone enjoys? What's a pain that someone enjoys?
Hey.
There's a lot of pleasure pain people. Yes. Are you saying that these are top 5 pains that we don't talk about enough? That's a totally different list. It's not underrated.
It's
pain.
my list.
I know, but I'm asking you what we're calling it for the clarity of the audience.
Underrated pains.
Everyone's confused on this, Stu. I'm right there with you.
This is
I'm
not
locked in.
this
I know
is-
exactly what you're saying.
Thank you.
Top 5 pains people forget about.
It can't be
Top 5 pains that people don't think about unless they're going through them.
Okay.
Is that better?
The mouthful, but
It is. It's wordy, but Dan's making me change the name of my list.
Well, because I think it's confusing. You confuse the people we're doing the show with, so I'm
Chris is
assuming
with me.
you're
He's
confusing the
locked in.
audience. I know that he's with
Locked
you,
in.
but that is not the ally you want.
That's all I got.
Old heavy tongue.
Locked in.
Look, that's a new podcast. Toothache and heavy tongue. That you and him. Go ahead. Feel free to do a little demo. You and him right here. Because I think Stugotz is going to be slurring by the end of the show. I saw him popping the meds.
Oh, yeah.
He doesn't do this healthy. What he does is he keeps taking pills thinking, when is that going to make the pain stop? He's not allowing for any of it to get into the bloodstream.
I took 4 Advil. I took a Tylenol. I had 2 pieces of bacon and a couple of gummies.
Well, this is the thing. Okay, let's cover this for a second. Let me explain to you how this.
It's 4:20, Dano.
Let me explain to you the hot breath that greeted my right ear this morning. I'm writing down some notes. I'm busy preparing for the show, and I hear and feel and smell something greasy appear next to me. It smells like bacon.
Yeah.
It has bacon in its hand, and it is telling me, while chewing, what a terrible toothache it has.
The worst.
While chewing, I smell the bacon and feel the bacon on my ear while he tells me I think I have to leave early because I've got a toothache, and the toothache is a terribly underrated pain.
You noticed I was chewing on the left side, right? Left side only. No pressure on the right
What you do when
side
you have
right
a
now.
toothache, you chew on the opposite side.
I didn't notice because I wasn't looking at you. I was trying not to look into the breath that was hot and greasy and of bacon. So I didn't.
Understood.
I didn't want my
Bacon breath could be worse.
I didn't want my eyebrows singed. I will tell the people again that Stugotz is the only person in this particular establishment who walks around with his breakfast in the morning. No napkins, no nothing, just bacon in his hand, grease going down. Never seen a napkin. It's just eating bacon. And whether it's his left side or his right, he was telling me about his toothache while chewing bacon. So put it on the poll at Le Batard Show. Do you really have a toothache if you're chewing bacon while telling someone about it?
It's not very believable. I
Well,
understand.
yeah,
Right.
you know, it's incriminating circumstantial evidence that would suggest that you're guilty of lying.
But this is where we get back into why Dan's confused about underrated pain. Because if the toothache hurts so good, right, you want the pain. You chew where you have the toothache and you're forcing more of the pain. And that's where you could think underrated pain, a pain you want to have, the toothache. But what you're saying is that this is a pain that you don't want to have, that you don't think about enough. I can understand why we had to get into the nitty gritty on this
If
one.
I were to ask you right now, most painful experiences you've ever had, you would probably not say a toothache, right? Unless you had an actual toothache.
I had gout once. That's the most painful I
Gout's
ever had.
bad. Yeah.
Is that properly rated?
Yeah, I would never say it's underrated.
Yeah.
And people would understand my description of
You're
it,
right.
too.
Yeah.
I don't believe that there is a funnier word that you could have had in the middle of that sentence than I had gout once.
It's the rich man's disease.
Gout, I don't. You're going to have to tell me more about gout because I only know it as a funny word, and so I need more information on this for me and the audience. At Le Batard Show, do you know the symptoms of gout? I will say that gout is a funny word to me, at least in part, because I only associate it kind of like shingles, 80-year-old and plus.
It's a king's disease.
Well done.
Put it on the poll at Le Batard Show. Is gout the king's disease? Why is it the king's disease?
Because it originated from kings back hundreds of years ago. They would get all the fine meats, and they would eat so much of it. And when you eat too much of that kind of food, of meat, the red meat, it causes gout. So it was known as the king's disease. So I was eating like a king that week.
It's also associated with alcohol consumption.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just looking up different, like, interesting, odd, like, syndromes you can get. Because, like, I'm just thinking, are there any other ones that are in this, you know? That
Funny diseases, gout, shingles, like stuff that you can make fun of because it's terrible.
Scurvy.
It's painful. Yeah, it's awful, but you're not crossing the line into mocking someone who's got family that has been lost
Scabies.
to gout.
Like, I wouldn't want to have alien hand syndrome, which is a condition where one hand acts independently of a person's conscious control.
Happens to my baby all the time. She's got hands all over the place. Doesn't know how to control her hands.
Exploding head syndrome, a sleep disorder where a person experiences a loud, sudden noise in their head upon falling asleep or waking up.
And then the head explodes.
Mm-hmm.
People don't die from gout, right?
I don't think so.
think so.
I mean,
I doubt it.
I wanted to hate it.
that's pretty good, man. Has anyone ever
Do not
died from
encourage
gout?
him, okay? Do not encourage him. Do you realize that Friday night, 4 minutes into the broadcast, I had to tell him to stop talking like a broadcaster? Do not encourage him with the puns, Chris Cody. Chris, listen to me. Lock in here, okay? Right here. If you encourage the bad puns, there will be more bad puns. We have not been able, lock in with me here, Chris.
My bad.
We have not been able to discourage the bad puns, even while tasering, punishing, and generally hating the bad puns.
Because it hurts so good.
Punishing him.
What?
Puns.
Yeah.
Stay with me, okay?
Lock in.
I'm back. Sorry.
On Friday night, stakes for his life. Jonathan Zaslow won concert tickets and won being able to work here during the playoffs and evidently have a little bit of his run of the place because I thought he was going to be in this room and now he's that room. And so we've got a chemical agent here now that is going to be problematic over the next few months because he won a giant bet. My Wi-Fi wasn't working. That was embarrassing. My Wi-Fi generally all weekend wasn't working, which made games more difficult to come by. I want to ask you guys at Le Batard Show, are you proper bleeped if your Wi-Fi doesn't work for a whole weekend? ? I have come to rely on things more than I thought I had the most gangster of Wi-Fis. I thought there wasn't an ability for me not to have the best Wi-Fi on the beach, but my Wi-Fi wasn't working, and I was totally nuked on my weekend in terms of itchiness because I couldn't get to things that I could normally get to.
Is that one of the packages when you're choosing? They have like 3-4 different Wi-Fi packages. Silver, gold, gangster.
Yes.
Yeah, best on the beach.
Yes, I went to the top of the food chain. It's like, what's the most I can give to have the best? What do I have to do to have the proper cables, wires, everything, so I don't have to rely on things that my neighbors are relying on?
I got bad news. I think you got to leave the beach, Dan. I'm not going to name names. I'm not going to say anything, but I know some people live on the beach too, and they're not happy with the service provider over there. You guys have your own rules over there, by the way. Us on the mainland, we get normal stuff. We get, people that... the fiber optic cables and whatnot. You guys over there, they're treating you guys differently. I don't know. You should look into that.
I want to stop and celebrate for a second because I think we just had a sentence said on this show that's never been said in the history of mankind, putting a group of words together, which is, I thought I had the most gangster of Wi-Fi.
What does that mean?
Congratulations, Dan. You've done something no one's ever done, which is said that sentence.
Thank you. I appreciate it, Jeremy. But I did think that I had good Wi-Fi, and evidently I did not. But so the unfortunate part about this is I was setting this whole thing up. The whole thing was something that I was trying to do in order to have Zaslow squirm around Michael Wilbon and Brian Windhorst.
Heat, we're up 10-0. Right out the gate.
Because he has said bad things about Windhorst and Wilbon, and he's climbing at ESPN. I wanted to make Zaslow sit. I was trying to get a hold of Windhorst. Wilbon shows up, and I see the fear sweep across Zaslow's face.
Yeah.
And on top of it, Dan's Wi-Fi is gangster Wi-Fi. Craps out. And it's just me and Wilbon
what do you
on
do there?
the screen. I've never spoken a word to him in my life.
Yeah.
And I've said terrible things about him.
He has ridiculed him on air for 10 years like this. So now listen to what, but I couldn't even be there to enjoy the awkward of it, Stugotz, because my Wi-Fi was balky.
Your gangster Wi-Fi.
My gangster Wi-Fi was balky. And so I leave Zaslow and Wilbon alone. I can't even hear. I'm trying to hit Zaslow in the third quarter with the discomfort of, here's Wilbon, here's Joy Taylor, here's Windhorst.
Here's the Heat blowing their third quarter.
Correct. Correct. I didn't plan for that. That part worked out fine. My Wi-Fi didn't screw that up.
Do you think Wilbon knows that he was a Tool of the Week Hall of Famer in my studio? He's one of the only 4 inductees.
Wow.
It's a banner of him in my studio. It's $7.90 the ticket.
He should be honored.
Did he call you Johnny? He calls Dan Danny. He has this thing. He likes putting a
Danny.
Y at the end of people's name.
that.
Guys, you let Zaslow skip past with he was in a closed room. I had disappeared talking to someone he's ripped for 10 years. And you guys didn't just hear him say, Tool of the Week Hall of Famer. I
mean, if you're from this market, you know.
No,
it.
but so I
one of 4.
But I was about to present Wilbon with that information in front of Zaslow. Correct, and my Wi-Fi didn't allow it. And so but I'm not talking about when I say the whole scramble was for that. It wasn't the whole reason I wanted to do all of that is because I simply wanted Zaslow in a position where he had to answer to two elders about terrible things he's been saying for 10 years.
Aren't you intrigued, though? Don't you want to know the other 3 tools of the week? I mean,
I know one of
Jimmy
them.
Cephalo has to be in there.
I just mentioned 2 of them. Wilbon and Windhorse are in. We've already covered the other 2.
Wendy too?
Yeah. He was inaugural inductee. Yeah.
Are we going back as far? Was Heath Bell in this Tool Hall?
He
of Fame?
was.
Yes.
Yep, I remember this Hall of Fame.
Yes.
Yep.
Deserving.
Yep.
Tool of the week. And who was the 4th? I forgot.
Jeffrey Loria.
Of course. No Cephy, huh?
OLI.
Yeah.
You guys
Now, again, it's not me putting them in. It was our listeners. They put them in.
Time now for top 5 Stugotz underrated pains.
We're back to that, huh?
OLI.
Yeah, I've won. Stepping on a Lego.
So is that an underrated pain or is that overrated?
It's an underrated pain. You never think
I
about it as an actual pain until you step on an actual
I feel like
Lego.
each one of these is going to confuse me a little
Yeah.
bit.
You were with me 5 minutes ago.
Locked in.
Number
Locked
5.
2 things.
Yeah. Okay.
I need you, man.
Yeah. Underrated
Locked in.
pain. Number 4.
A paper cut.
Underrated
With
pain.
ya.
Okay, what? So that's a pain. You know, we joke about paper cuts. Nobody likes them though. They're bad.
They're rated completely properly.
Now, most people don't know, though.
My list.
What do you mean they don't know?
A lot of people have not had a paper cut.
Yep.
Put it on the poll.
No, that
More
can't be
people
true.
have not. I think it's like less
Agreed.
than 50% of people have had a paper cut.
All right, hold on. At Le Batard Show. That's a good question. Hold on. Everyone slow down.
By the way, no one's ever died from gout.
Okay, so that's the line. I think we can all agree. Wherever it is that cancel culture resides, I think we can all agree. The line is we can make fun of the disease if no one has ever died from it.
It leads to things, though.
I'm just reading. Yes, it
But
has-
no direct deaths
Not the
from gout.
direct
Yes.
reason for death, but it has
The
increased
king's
risk of
disease.
mortality.
The king's disease. Gout.
That's right.
It has to be an old man's disease, does it not?
I wasn't old.
Well, you
Put
are
it
old.
at Le Batard Show. Have more people had paper cuts than haven't had paper cuts?
Huh.
At Le Batard Show. Because I think what he's saying that the grand majority of humans have never touched paper in a way that has cut them, which doesn't make sense to me.
But we've all had one.
Anyone who's touched, I feel like if I say everyone who's touched paper, more than half of those people have had a paper cut. Yes. If you've ever touched paper, you've had a paper cut.
Tony seems like a guy that's never had a paper cut.
No, I've had a paper cut. So I had a paper ruler. You know how sometimes they send you, if you're going to put like a TV up or whatever, they send you like a paper ruler so you can put it on the wall, measure it or whatever. It was furled together, and then I went to unfurl it, and my finger got stuck on the side, and it like ripped.
That's not a paper cut.
That's bad.
No, it is an absolute paper cut. It cut me like almost half my finger cut off. It was crazy.
All right, so hold on. But what you're alleging, Chris Cody, what you're trying to say is that
cut on your
everyone
finger.
everyone has had a paper cut if you've been around paper, but you're saying half the world hasn't held paper, correct?
No, I think a lot of people have had plenty of experiences holding paper and just haven't had a paper cut. I think it's rare to get a paper cut. It's not like every 10 pieces of paper I touch, I'm getting a paper cut. I've had one, but I think I've had one in my entire life, and I've touched a lot of paper. Okay, I got some strong paper bona fides.
All right, then the question is at Le Batard Show, I'm going to make it less wordy. Have you ever had a paper cut?
There it is. I
yes
like
or
that.
no? Number 2 toothache.
A stub at number 3, by the way.
Sorry.
A stubbing of the toe.
Man, I want to be locked in with you.
But underrated.
But this
I
is
don't
such
understand.
a properly rated.
Is it
Yeah.
really?
All right,
Yeah,
so
man.
wait.
Really?
Everyone knows these things hurt so bad.
All right.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Stugotz, what is this list? It's top 5.
It's top 5 things that you don't know are really painful until you're experiencing them.
Okay.
It's getting wordier.
All right, number 2.
Funny bone. Nothing funny about it. Seriously.
You know what? I think that's the first
Yes.
decent one on your list.
People
Thank
think
you.
it's funny.
Thank you.
Not funny.
Nothing funny about it.
And number 1.
David Sampson. It's a pain.
An underrated pain.
Oh, he's underrated, yeah.
A pain.
You don't know just how painful David Sampson can be until you're dealing with David Sampson. He's a pain in the ass. I mean, he's calling me on weekends. Leave me alone. I mean, Jesus.
After a blank space on the calendar, Formula One is back in Azerbaijan despite its reputation for tight corners and narrow roads. F1 is putting a sprint race in Baku. On Saturday, Charles Leclerc is fearless in pole position as the sprint begins. But at the start, London boy George Russell delivers some karma to Max Verstappen, making him a move to push him wide. Max is red, but George says, don't blame me. Number 22, Yuki Tsunoda, clips the wall and loses a tire after just 2 laps. At the restart, Sergio Perez has a lead with 5 laps left. It's time to go. Checo wins the sprint race, but Max and George have bad blood when the race ends. You guys see what I'm doing yet? Will there be vigilante shit on Sunday?
This
Max,
is amazing.
You need to calm down because it's lights out and away we go in Baku. Sparks fly, and Verstappen is driving like he's in a getaway car and pulls out into the lead. Long story short, Nick DeVries has a glitch and a safety car ensues. Perez is in the lead after a slew of pit stops, but he's not out of the woods yet. The one driver, Max Verstappen, has speed, but that's when Sergio Perez says, bye-bye, baby. As the race ends, Esteban Ocon goes into the pit, but the mastermind race organizers have let press onto the treacherous pit lane. This is why we can't have nice things. 7-time champion Lewis Hamilton finishes 6th. The last great American dynasty, Haas, finishes out of the points, but today was a fairy tale for Sergio Perez. Verstappen finishes in 2nd, which is better than revenge. 1-2 for Red Bull is nothing new. They don't have champagne problems on the podium, but the anti-hero Max Verstappen is only ahead in the Drivers' Championship by 6 points. Fernando Alonso and Taylor Swift rumors are swirling. Long live Formula One. Max Verstappen has won the Drivers' Championship, but we still have 4 races to go. In Austin, Daniel Ricciardo rides a horse named Horsey McHorseface into the paddock. Zach Brown accuses Christian Horner of cheating, and Fort Lauderdale's own Logan Sargent will join Williams in 2023. During quali, Carlos Sainz takes the fastest lap while his teammate Charles Leclerc takes a grid penalty. Martin Brundle gets snubbed by Brad Pitt. Tim Apple doesn't know how to wave a flag. 440,000 people are at the Circuit of the Americas. It's lights out and away we go. On turn 1, Max Verstappen gets ahead of Carlos Sainz, and Sainz tries to recover, but gets hit by George Russell. The Spaniard is out of the race before the 1 lap is even over, and Russell takes a 5-second penalty. Valtteri Bottas' race ends early, and a safety car helps out Charles Leclerc for once. Fernando Alonso and Lance Stroll get in a massive collision, and debris is everywhere. Lewis Hamilton, on hard tires, leads the race with 10 laps to go, but the Flying Dutchman cannot be beat this year. It's Verstappen, Hamilton, and Leclerc. Sebastian Vettel battles to the finish in his final USGP. Baby Lando finishes 6th, and Yuki gets a point. Red Bull wins the Constructors' Championship for the first time in 10 years, a day after their founder's passing. People are crying, there's champagne flowing, fireworks are popping off. Everything is bigger in Texas, Dan, except for F1 drivers.
I guess it's time for the F1 minute here, even though I want to hear that sound
gave it
again.
away?
Je suis stressé pour les minutes de Formula 1. J'ai besoin d'énergie. Énergie.
Let's go, energy.
Oh, energy.
Bonjour et bienvenue à Circuit Paracas pour le Grand Prix de France. Les températures élevées sur le circuit signifient que la gestion des pneus va être essentielle. Charles Leclerc, le pilote automobile monégasque, fait face à Max Verstappen pour la première place. Le pilote Ferrari doit gagner pour rester dans les championnats. Mais non! Quelle horreur! Une catastrophe! Sacré bleu! Charles Leclerc sort de la course! Encore de la malchance! Il est fini! Une honte! Max Verstappen prend une grosse avance. Lewis Hamilton, le pilote Mercedes, est 12e. Carlos Sainz, l'autre pilote Ferrari, a commencé à la 19e place, d'où sa pénalité pour le changement du moteur. Et les roues contre roues avec Sergio Perez, mais l'imbécile de chez Ferrari recommence. Max Verstappen a fini premier de la course. Carlos Sainz est le pilote toujours. Lando, l'enfant Norris, a terminé 7e. Lance Stroll a terminé avec un point. Félicitations, Mike Crack.
Huh?
Wow! Oh my God!
Holy shit! Holy shit!
Merci.
Oh my God! Was there an imbecile in there? Did you say
Les
imbecile?
imbéciles de chez Ferrari recommencent.
That sounded so exciting. I have no idea what happened.
Les pauvres Charles Leclerc, les pauvres.
My God, that was incredible.
That was really
I am
good.
so
Merci,
jealous that
merci
you can do that.
Christophe, merci Guillermo.
Well, the music ran out, but I think you should, because we didn't have an F1 minute today, I think you should give people Lord of the Rings minute. Yes, I think you should give people...
Spoiler alert or no spoiler
Dangerous
alert?
game, man.
Dangerous game because of what?
To us, you can spoil as much as you want. So I say go for as many spoilers as you like.
All right, I'll give a spoiler of what happened at the end of the last
Hold on.
episode.
Let me get you
Hold
music.
It was insane. Okay, so Spoiler. Do not listen if you don't want to know what happened in the last episode of The Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power. So Galadriel and Halbrand, who everyone thinks might be Sauron, they go from Numenor back to Middle-earth, and they're in the Southlands. And the guy who's like the head elf of the Southlands, who's trying to help protect all the people who are getting invaded by the ORC army, they're trying to figure out how to get the orcs to go away, the ORC army, and to get free of them. And right now, a lot of people are calling it Before-Dor. We think they're in Mordor before it becomes Mordor, before Mount Doom erupts. Interesting, because there's been a mountain that they've shown a couple times in different scenes throughout the series, right? So we're like, okay, how are the people going to defeat the orcs? Because the orcs, the ORC army, they're badasses, and they have this guy who's a leader, and his name's Adar, which means father, and we're like, maybe he's Sauron. But he's trying to get this thing that looks like a sword, but it's actually like kind of a key, and it looks like it's in the shape of Mordor. So he's trying to get that, and this little kid Theo has it, and his mom Bronwyn is in charge of all these people. So they trap the orcs inside the Elven Tower, and then the orcs come to the town, the ones that survive, and it looks like the people beat the orcs, but then the orcs come back. There's more orcs, but then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, Galadriel and Halbrand and the Numenorians charge in on their horses, and they save all the people, and it's like, holy shit. And so Galadriel finally finds Adar, and she's like, I don't know who you are. I don't know what your deal is. Are you Sauron? What's going on here? And he's like, I don't know. I'm not going to tell you. I'm going to be mysterious. And then Halbrand comes in, and Halbrand tries to kill him. And everyone's like, well, why would Halbrand kill him if he's Sauron? And this is a servant of Sauron. Maybe it is. Maybe it isn't. We're not sure yet. I kind of think he is. And then fast forward, the little sword thing that they had, it was wrapped up in like a burlap sack. And the little kid is about to throw it like into the Sundering Sea or whatever to get rid of it forever. He opens it. The sword's gone. It's a decoy. This old creepy guy stole it, took it back to the Elven Tower, which used to be where there was dark magic happening, shoved it in the ground, turned it. It created a chain reaction. All this water starts pouring in underground where the orcs have been tunneling, the ORC army. And Mount Doom erupts, and it covers the sky in ash.
This episode is presented by DraftKings. DraftKings, the crown is yours.
It's pretty rare after 20 years doing this that I get sort of stunned silent by something that's happened around here that hasn't been learned, even though Stugotz has lived among Latin people for 20 years. Mm-hmm. The first hour had a moment for me that I'm not even sure I concealed very well, but it felt like I was alone with Tony in the moment where you guys asked me how I got rid of the meat that Prime 112 sent over to our house, as if you didn't know that I'm a Latin family person. Like, what? There is never a problem getting rid of meat at any hour that is cooked and it is well cooked. Tony, I felt so alone in a room full of people here. I'm like, are you guys from, like, have you guys been around Latin? You asked me a question I did not know how to answer because you're like, if you saw my reaction, it was like, what are you asking me? Like, what kind of, was I breathing that evening? Like, why are you asking me whether I could get rid of meat or not?
Like I said last segment, me and Stu locked in today. I'm pretty sure we both had the same visual of you giving a $700 steak to your dog.
That's right. Yes.
And just being like, I'm not going to eat this.
Right.
Yep.
How do you decide, though, who to offer up the $700
hey,
steak
Footfoot.
to? Like, that's a special person in your life.
First, Tony,
that's the thing.
Tony,
special
first
steak.
come, first serve. Oye, tengo unas cuantas cosas aquí. Tengo churrasco, silón. Tengo de todo. Ven para acá. And then you come in, you kind of, what I was saying, Zaz, was, I've got churrasco, I got churrasco.
Why'd you assume I didn't know?
No, just in case. I got all these things. You come over here and you pick what you want. And then Pepito comes over and he's like, Coño, ¿y este qué? No, that one's really good. Okay, me lo llevo.
I've got Footfoot eating like a 5-star meal.
Okay, I got it. I got your joke. You think I'm feeding it to the pets. We're all clear on what you're doing there. I want to ask Tony some questions because you guys didn't hear what he said on the translation. He picked up an imaginary phone, and the way that he said hello was, you have steak, I'm coming. Like...
There's no hellos needed.
Voy para allá, because you got to get there first.
Exactly.
I knew that.
No, you guys didn't know that. You guys were hiding in the shadows, and I know you like your steaks, and you made me feel alone by derailing the show by asking me stupidly. How do you get rid of the meat? I'm Latin.
Now we've elevated because now we have the group chat. So now you put the family in the group chat together on WhatsApp, obviously on WhatsApp, and then you go, oye, tengo bistec, ven pa acá, and then you have the cousin saying, voy pa allá, ¿qué tiene? Vamos pa allá. Like it's just a family affair, Stu.
Zagak.
Thank you. What is Spanish for Zagak? We're going to get to weekend observations in a second. Zaz is not here for your toughness. What does he care about your toughness? But the hockey playoffs have started, and while the games might not be any good, they're already penalized a great deal and violent.
Now that's tough.
You want to hear toughness? Let's hear toughness from yesterday's Senators-Leafs game.
Original penalty on the ice to Toronto, number 89, 2 minutes for high sticking. Ottawa, number 15, has 2 minutes for roughing. And then Toronto, number 2, 11, 25, 74, and 89 have 2 minutes for roughing. And then Ottawa, 43, 15, 22, 33, and 81 have 2 minutes for roughing. We're going to play.
First weekend.
That is playoff hockey right there.
It's the best sport.
All right.
It sounded like they were in the Roman Coliseum.
He's checking notes, by the way, for the people listening. He's looking down at paper. He's like, number 11, number 7, number 42. They've got 3 minutes. And then number 11, number 14, number 72. They've got 5-minute majors. We're going to play 4-on-4.
Zaslow, everyone is picking against the Panthers. This is the perfect spot. Look, man. This has not happened in our lifetime in this market where we have the defending champion. We have something that swaggers into the playoffs saying some form of, yeah, Washington, we get it. That's how you guys play during the regular season. That shit don't work now. Now's our time. We'll do that to McDavid. We'll do that to everybody.
We don't care about seeding. We don't care about going on the road.
But the last 3 weeks, or ever since Marchand got here, the Panthers have limped to the finish line in a sport that's got about 12 teams where you're like, oh, good God. If hockey happens in any of those, if a goalkeeper happens in any of those, total chaos. And yet I'm guessing that Zaz comes in here today the way Lightning fans have come into their arena for many years before this, before being vanquished by the Panthers, to own Florida, the United States, and Canada in Canada's sport. This is Florida Panthers' time. It's not up for dispute. They are the reigning champions. They go into the playoffs knowing exactly what's required to remain champions, how hard it is. And everyone's picking against them. And I'm surprised by that.
I think it's because of the year Tampa had. I don't think you're almost saying it like it's disrespect to Florida. I think a lot of people have the winner of this Florida-Tampa series going all the way through the East. So I don't really take it. Tampa has just kind of been that hot team the second half of the season, so I'm not surprised people are going that way. It honestly makes me feel better. Like you were just saying, it's in a good spot. You don't want everyone picking you in hockey.
Oh, it makes me feel good too. Like I don't need them picking the Panthers, but I'm watching The Point on ESPN yesterday. They had Steve Levy and Mark Messier.
We are back.
And PK Subban, and all of them picked the Lightning to get to the Stanley Cup final. And if you don't understand what that means, it means they're also picking the Lightning to beat the Panthers. So Steve Levy is sus, and Mark Messier is sus, and PK Subban is sus.
It's been said, it's been noted.
Sus.
It's been said,
Super
it's
sus.
been noted. Where is that notarization? He's coming after ESPN people. That's ESPN on ESPN Crime. It's why Samson was worried about putting you in a position near a microphone to begin with.
Well, look, it's not any kind of crime. I made a pick. They made a pick. I'm going to be right. They're going to be wrong.
Yeah.
No, but you're saying they all picked and that they're sus. You didn't just say they made a pick. No.
Yeah. If you pick against the Panthers, you're sus.
He's right.
Are we still getting things notarized? Is that still a thing? Yeah. That was always a ridiculous thing.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, let me go to my friend's mom's house who is a notary. My friend's mom's going to stamp this paper, and now it's official.
Yeah. Yes.
You know, Steven's mom. That's the difference here. Stupid process, always. My whole life, I'm just like, what? I have to get this, get it signed by who? Something official? Courthouse? No, not a courthouse.
Really?
Just Jack's mom?
Your whole life, huh?
somebody who's got ink in an office.
Now I can do something. Now I can go on this field trip because this has been notarized.
You know.
Let me get one of those stamps. I'll be a notary.
Do you understand what's going to happen
there's a process.
What's the process?
It's not
You sign up, you
can't
pay
just buy-
$50,
you
and all of a
can't-
sudden I'm a notary.
No, you can't buy a stamp. I don't think it's a labyrinth either, but you have to fill out some paperwork.
Look it up. Jeremy, I want to become a notary this week.
Okay. I don't think it can happen that fast.
Well-
And first of all, I think that you have to do work.
For $147, it could happen that
Boom.
fast, I believe.
There's notary packages on FloridaNotaryService.com starting at $94.
Buy
Chris.
one.
Oh, really?
I want to be a notary.
That's a deal.
So hold on. You're saying that it just no. I will not believe that the only thing you need to make something legal and notarized is ordering it on Amazon, a $97 stamp.
I think there may be some legal issues too. Like if you notarize something that then becomes illegal,
There has
you're
to
on
be-
the
there-
hook
My mom's
for
a
said
lawyer.
thing.
It's fine.
There has to be a course or something.
There's a 3-hour online course.
I'll do it today.
Okay, thank you.
I will be a
3
notary
hours.
All right.
tomorrow.
There
I will
has
be a
to- All
notary.
right, there has to be training. I knew there had to be something. Like,
It's 3 hours,
It's a
though, I mean.
ridiculous thing. We can all agree.
is it
I think so.
going through legally binding things to ensure that you're not trafficking in corruption?
Kyle's mom's busy today, so you're going to have to get it notarized tomorrow.
You know, you only get a 4-year term as a notary.
Wow.
How about that?
I believe notaries are holding together democracy right now.
They're not doing a very good job.
No, they are not. They've got no chance.
We need
We need
more
more
of them.
Chris Cody's.
This is you. You need to do this as a patriot on behalf of governance.
Down the
on
middle. I will notarize both sides.
I want you to be on behalf of rules. I want you to stand strong, and I want 3 hours of content from you in the meeting to get notarized, because I believe you should get a bonus if you arrive tomorrow as someone who can confirm something, but officially notarized by you because you went through a legal process.
How strict of a notary would you be? Like any friend that comes up and asks you, you're like, yeah, it's cool.
I'm going to take every case individually.
No, you
I'm going to really see what's what, make sure my T's are crossed and my I's are dotted.
Oh, that's
Attaboy.
obnoxious then.
Yeah.
Florida is one of 21 states that requires a course to become a notary, but 26 of them require you to pass an exam.
Look, he's
so
out.
you actually have the
He's out.
easier way here.
So
There's
now
only, I
look.
think, 3 that
Now
don't
look
require
at-
anything?
Look at the child in nepotism. Nope, it's going to take work now. Not so interested in making sure that notaries save
He
lives.
wanted
training
Dad
course.
just to hand him the stamp.
I'll take a look at see what works.
That's
required.
where it ends. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm familiar with this man's
I'll
work.
see what's what.
Yep. And this is the Meadowlark way right here. I'll see what's what, and then a cloud of smoke, and then nothing gets done, and we never talk about it again. It's his form of leadership.
Notarized.
He thinks I have not seen it. He thinks I don't see him.
I have notarized this conversation.
Can I do a class online that I'm farting around watching a Panthers playoff game and just having my
my way.
having my daughter click yes a couple of times, or buy a thing that just jiggles the mouse to trick people into
like
thinking?
Yeah, I'm
corporate
still here. I'm
training.
still here. I promise. Tie it to a fan. The fan goes back and forth.
Do you realize how quickly that happened? How quickly we went from notarized, that'll be easy. Oh, Florida makes you take a course. I'm out. I'm not driving in my car and going anywhere.
Ooh, online course, Jeremy? Look that up.
It's a 3-hour online course. It takes 2 to 4 weeks to get commissioned. And then you have a 4-year run.
I'll do it.
Right.
Maybe not by tomorrow, but sometime this week.
What color official notary seal stamp would you like? They have black, they have yellow, they have orange, they have purple, pink, blue, and red.
Blue.
Okay.
when
I'll
you said
select
it.
that and move
All
forward
of
for
you are anti-notary. All of you don't believe in just having
It's
one.
obnoxious.
It really is.
What? Name something I got notarized that was like really important in my life, because I don't even remember what shit did we have to get notarized.
I got
Your
something
wedding?
notarized at my wife's school recently.
That's right, my wedding
Your
thing.
wedding.
That's right.
Your
Recently,
wedding.
though.
Shout out Alex's mom for doing that.
Your wedding.
Usually it's like a 2-for-1 though,
All right,
Dan.
so-
The person that's getting you married in the courthouse is also a notary, so you kind of get 2-for-1 and you go.
I mean, that's all right. I'll give you that one. But I feel like there was things in high school. I had to get shit notarized for, like, if I want to go on a field trip, if I want to play this sport.
I want the accusation levied loudly and proudly. What are you saying about notaries? State it clearly and once so we can all hear.
I just remember growing up, I had to do it multiple times, and every time I was like, why is my friend's mom stamping this thing, and now it's
not an
validated?
answer to my question.
I don't
What
remember.
What
did I have to get? Like, you reminded me of the marriage. I guess that had to get notarized. I don't remember what shit I got notarized. I remember getting stuff notarized. I just don't remember what.
To Dan's point, say what you want to say and say it clearly. We all know what you want to say.
I want
Just say
to know
it.
what your thoughts are on notaries, quit lashing out at me. Defend your position.
It's an unnecessary exercise.
They're useless. That's
the
what you're
most
saying.
unnecessary of
Right.
anything we do in society. We could do without it. If it just went away, notarized, notary, gone.
So overrated.
From existence.
So overrated.
Overrated. It's an underrated annoyance, actually. But it's an underrated
It's a good point.
What's
do you
another
mean?
underrated annoyance?
Locked in, Chris.
What do you mean it's
Yeah.
an underrated
Locked in.
annoyance?
Locked in.
What do you mean it's an underrated?
Getting something notarized is underrated annoying.
But if I
It
said
really
to you
is.
annoying things, you're not going to think of that.
So you're
It's
saying
underrated.
Unless
wait a
you're in
minute.
it and you
So
need
wait a
someone to
minute.
notarize
You
something.
think-
That's what I was saying
you
about the
guys are
tooth.
saying
I
that
mean-
an underrated annoyance is a top 5 having to get something notarized?
It's the worst.
The
You don't
worst?
want to do it. Go get something notarized
The
today.
worst?
I'm going to hand you a piece of paper, and then you're going to go get it notarized. And that's going to make your day worse.
That's true.
It is. Do we have a notary in here?
Kyle's mom is available today
Finally.
if you need, though. I can get her to notarize it for you.
Let's do Stugotz's weekend observations. You're not even ready for it.
It
because
is
you're
time
over
for
there.
Stugotz to share his game notes. No one in the media will tell you what happened better than my boy Stu.
Underrated annoyances. Samson would still be number 1, right?
He's on all the lists.
Thank you. Weekend observations brought to you by Miller Lights. Dan, once extremely popular, his people turned on him. They killed him, and his death was a brutal one. Crucified. But you know what they say? They say you can't keep a good man down. And this man, he rose. And Dan, on the 3rd day, just like that, make no mistake about it, Jesus Christ is back.
Big comeback.
JC, Son of God, the King of Kings. Also, Dan. Your observation. I appreciate it. Sent me a little text on a Sunday. Enjoyed it. Speaking of back, the NBA second season. Speaking of back, the NFL draft. Speaking of back, Mel Kiper Jr. Oh my God, what a week. Pearl Jam. T-Wolves, Lakers, congratulations. Your series started. Nobody loves a mock draft like Mel Kiper loves a mock draft. You know what the M in Mel Kiper stands for, Dano?
Mock draft.
Wow, you're on it today.
Yes.
Also, I'll be on God Bless Football this week.
Yes.
Every time I watch hockey, I wonder, why don't I watch it more? Then the game ends, and I won't watch it again for a couple of months. Happens all the time. The Knicks going on a 21-0 run in Madison Square Garden. The Mecca. Hey, Pistons, welcome to the playoffs. The Jets play a sport that awards you 7 points per score, and yet the Knicks have more 21-0 runs. I hate them. Dan, we had a Christian Laettner-type moment over the weekend. You'll never forget where you were when Cam Payne saved the Knicks season. Where were you, Dana?
Is it on your list? Where were you, Games?
I was fiddling with my Wi-Fi. Gangster.
I'm taking it right now. If the Knicks win a title, they're going to pop the campaign. How about that?
That's good. I like that.
Thank you. It's mine, though.
You should try to trademark that. You actually, you know what? Pop the campaign is something that right now should be a T-shirt. You should take
We're getting
over.
ahead of ourselves
You
here.
should right now make sure to do whatever you need to do so that you're profiting off of. That is a great slogan.
Thank you. What do I do now?
You got to stop what you're
someone
doing.
on the Knicks is on that, right?
You got to stop what you're doing, and you got to tell Angel, you got to tell somebody in our company that you've got a business idea.
I have to get it notarized for sure, though.
I mean, Sampson?
By David Sampson, probably. Yeah, I'm sure he's a notary. For sure.
So obnoxious.
Marvin Bagley Jr. with the rare half-court buzzer beater to cut the lead to 49. Also, had no idea he was on the Grizzlies. The Grizz. It was definitely Taylor Jenkins' fault. That team's a disaster. John Morant said, will never play worse than that. You can't play worse than that. Even if you tried to play worse than that, you cannot play worse than the Memphis Grizzlies played. Oh, Taylor Jenkins.
Were there any grenade celebrations from Ja?
I mean, they were down by 53 at one point.
So that's a no.
Yeah. If you look up swept in the first round in the dictionary, you'd see a picture of this Orlando Magic team. Team is done.
Put it on the poll. And they really are, right? Like,
And Carroll's really good, though.
yeah, but it doesn't matter.
Enjoy his last 3 games of the year.
Put it on the poll. Are notaries obnoxious at Le Batard Show?
Hey, Jesus Christ, if you have 12 apostles, you have none.
Whoa.
I mean, Dan, you know what they say. If you have 12, I mean, you don't have one. Top 5 people in sports who connote Easter. OLI, David DeJesus. Number 5, Hank Baskett. Number 4, Dan Pasqua. That's a good one, right?
That is a good one.
Thank you.
That is a good one.
Thank you. Thank you. Number 3, Kareem Hunt. Number 2, Rich Eggy.
That's not right. That's ridiculous what you just did.
Yeah,
there.
update anchor.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. A 790 update anchor who worked for like 9 months in 2001.
The 6 people who got that joke think it's funny.
Thank you.
That's
I did it for the 6.
not a one of them is listening.
Well, Grunfast might be listening. You got that right.
That is a joke that only works if you're Rich Eggy or Rich Eggy adjacent. And there are very
Guzio is cracking
There are
up.
very few people in our audience who are either of those things. Either Rich Eggy or Rich Eggy adjacent.
Rich Eggy adjacent is a funny term.
It really is.
Gout!
Number 1, Burke Badenhop. The Hopper.
Centerpiece, the Miguel Cabrera trade.
I know. Can you believe it? Running our company. Being mean to David. Probably should stop. Here come the Mets. The Mets, the Metropolitans. You noticed? Looks like we'll have to wait another year for Dan's dream finals matchup of Clippers-Pacers.
Oh, don't give up on it yet. Do not give up on it yet.
Fear not, though, guys. We still have the Rays. You're the weirdest sports fan, man.
Stugotz, Chandler Simpson's been called up for the Rays. He stole 104 bases in 110 games last year.
One of the fastest humans I've ever
Can't
seen.
get here fast enough. Rays baseball, baby. 7th best prospect in the system.
Wow, really?
Yeah. They called him up to the big leagues.
He can fly.
Exciting.
Harris English, the most British-sounding name of all time. He's from Georgia. The Thunder could win the NBA title, and I still wouldn't be able to tell you who their head coach was. Can you name him now? You don't know the name.
Stugotz. This
Someone knows the Thunder's head coach in there?
This is a joke from last year.
I don't
Yes,
think
yes,
anyone
but it's
knows.
got it's hard to spell. I think
They're
a
not
lot
gonna
of
win it,
I
by
think
the
a
way.
lot of people would have trouble spell. Most people would spell it wrong.
You don't know.
I'm not going to take a quiz.
Anyone?
I think everyone.
No one.
No, you smoked out Chris Cody.
Chris does not.
Chris Cody's in hiding.
Yell all you want.
I have no idea who that guy is.
Mina Kimes on Celebrity Jeopardy. Mina, I'm proud of you. And it's going to pain me to say this, but you choked. Mina, do it in the semifinals, and then do it again in the finals. I mean, if we're being honest, if you think you might be away for 9 days, you pack for 9 days. What are we doing with Spolstra here? I packed for 9 days. That's why we won. I think I'm going away for 9. I packed for 9.
Would have been inconvenient if they packed for less and they had to go home and then come back.
It's inefficient.
Right.
What are we doing there? Anyway. Should I apologize to me?
To who?
Mina. I feel bad. I mean, we love her.
Well, what you wrote those and you read them and now you feel bad, but she actually leaned into it, physically leaned into it, and said to Ken Jennings, "Scared money don't make money." I couldn't believe, that was the most gangster of Wi-Fi things.
Jason Hayward, Padre.
Look at this. Can you guys look at this? Look at what we have here. Mina, I'm sorry, Stugotz. I don't mean to do this to you. I just couldn't believe that after losing this way, losing because her math was a little faulty, losing and tripping over the finish line, she still leaned into great confidence.
And you don't have to kick yourself, I think, because the way it worked out with Dave being the only one who knew final.
Listen, yeah, I would have been more mad if I had done the math wrong. And once I was like, all right, because that would have just been embarrassing. But, yeah.
Well, you made small wagers on who you ended up knowing on Nero, and then
scared money don't make money.
I take back everything I said.
I've never seen Mina that confident in my life.
Amazing.
It was incredible.
She didn't choke, actually.
After choking.
Oh, you said it.
She's like leaning to the right, too. Super confident
That's
there.
incredible television.
Did you hear what I said?
Yes.
Jason Hayward, Padre.
No, Padres are great.
But Jason Hayward's on the Padres. Hey, kid. Dan, when you've got 2 strikes on Juan Soto, you know where he has you?
Right where he wants you.
Right where he wants you.
He does.
He's incredible.
Yes, he is.
Oh, the Mets got a good one.
Stugotz, you wandering over to sports after 18 months is interesting.
Yeah. I've been away, man. Operation Bloomin' Onion.
What do you think about Mark Dagnall, Stu?
Who?
Do you not know who that is?
No.
Just wondering.
How can you not know who that is?
Met? I'm easing into things, though.
It's a Padre.
Oh.
It's utility infielder.
So is Jason Hayward.
He's not a utility infielder.
No. Utility outfielder?
Although everyone is a first baseman now.
Really crazy how that changed, huh?
Weird.
Huh. I'm embarrassed to admit this. I thought the creator of the White Lotus, Mike White, was the NFL quarterback, Mike White. Thought it was weird that HBO would give him a show. I did. I had under 11.5 runs in Cubs and Diamondbacks. It was 2-1 Cubs in the 7th inning. It finished 13-11 Cubs.
What the hell happened to that Phillies-Marlins game?
Baseball.
Javi Sanoja happened, Dan. Javi Sanoja, Tony. You haven't heard of Javier Sanoja?
That absolutely sounds like an ailment you can make fun of because
Sanoja.
Because no one dies from it.
Sanoja on my back.
That is absolutely an illness of some sort. That was not a Marlin. In fact, let's play a new game. Find Marlin names and let's find which one sounds the most like an illness.
Also, name the Thunder coach.
We just did. He just asked you.
Who did? Oh, that was it? Dagger, you looked it up. Daggy?
He bails halfway through the name.
Daggies.
I got a bad case of Mervis.
Leicester relegated from the Premier League to the championship. Based on the name alone, I'd rather win the championship. Wouldn't you? Premier, championship, right? Seems bigger. Which is bigger? Premier? Tip of the cap to one Reese Davis on his new 7-year deal to stay with ESPN after being heavily pursued by Fox Sports. When you think of a class act, you think of Reese Davis. Also, Fox Sports, call me. Hey, Klay Thompson, here's your reminder that the grass isn't always greener on the other side. How much do you think Nico Harrison is rooting against the Lakers this playoffs?
Dan, did you see someone ask Klay Thompson after the last game in the locker room if he knew what the team was going to look like now, would he have still signed with the Mavericks? It's balls to ask that question.
If the Lakers win a title with Luka, they're going to build Nico Harrison a statue in L.A. I'm sure Maverick fans were devastated that the Lakers lost Game 1. Phonies. If the Mavericks win a title with Anthony Davis before Luka wins one with the Lakers, Maverick fans will still be mad at Nico Harrison. They are a bunch of phonies, those fans. Seriously.
What? We didn't understand what you said. What kind of fans?
They're phonies. The Maverick fans.
Okay.
I mean, they're rooting for the Lakers. They're rooting against their own GM.
There was not a better cameraman moment this weekend, was there? Nobody in sports had a better weekend than cameraman who went straight from Anthony Davis limping toward the sidelines to Nico's face on the sidelines, correct? That was, of the weekend, no director's team, no television truck. This was what the Masters did last week with McIlroy.
That director definitely Jeremy-style fist pumped after that cut.
Right?
Like the director was just like, yes.
Yes, like that was just camera work, and Nico is sinking straight into the part. That is side-eye. That is official side-eye. That is his eyes trying to leave the frame, and the rest of him will get there in a moment because of how embarrassed he is by that's the worst thing that could possibly happen here.
I've got a bad case of Declan Cronin.
How many do you have? How many Marlins names would pass for illness?
Lake Bacher disease.
Ooh, wow, that sounds awful.
That's
it's kind of the best one I got.
That's pretty good.
Well, the doctor said he said Lake Bachner. 2/3.
That's why you pronounced it wrong.
How do you pronounce it? I love watching a position player pitch in a blowout.
Do you?
It's the best.
It's always fun.
What?
I want it in other sports. I want like a punter to be the quarterback in the fourth quarter in like an NFL blowout.
You guys like that?
Yeah, they just throws meatballs.
The Jets did that for real.
They
Tom
did?
Tupa was a punter who was their backup quarterback.
That was something the Jets did. But you guys, but the game is 13-4. Why are you even watching that game anymore?
Because there's a position player now pitching.
Throwing like 68 miles an hour.
Meatballs.
Well, you saw Ichiro came out there to throw a first pitch the other day in full uniform and gassed it up to 84 miles an hour.
I like it. They should do that in basketball when you honor a player the next season he comes out in uniform.
If you're diagnosed with Lake Bacher disease, you're prescribed with Calquantril.
Oh, wow. It's unfortunate.
Can you imagine if one day the Heat retire LeBron's jersey, comes to center court wearing a Heat jersey? It's in full Heat uniform. It'd be amazing.
Every golf tournament should have a regular person in the field, just so we can see how hard the course is. Have a television crew follow him and call it AmCam. You're welcome. 80-20 my way. That's a really good idea. It's Taylor's. Seeing Dead & Company at the Sphere, the rare once-in-a-lifetime experience that I've done 26 times. But you know what they say, Dan? Every time feels like the first time. If something happens on the Dan Le Batard Show, you can guarantee awful announcing is going to write about it. How does that happen? Things you think about on a gummy while sitting in the bleachers in Evanston, Illinois at a Northwestern lacrosse game. Remember when the Astros had a hill in their outfield?
I do remember that.
That's what I was thinking about.
They had a hill in the outfield, and the pole was in the outfield.
In the outfield, yes.
Yeah, it was like 435 feet away, though. Like back then, it seemed impossible that anyone would ever hit
put
the
a hill
ball
back
that
there. Nobody's
far.
going to do it.
Like, you guys do understand that was designed that way because of how rarely. Now that's where singles go to land.
Oh, but Jim Edmonds on that hill.
Oh, boy.
On the road.
So good.
Patrolling center field.
Whenever somebody hits a far drive that goes in the middle of the fairway, I have to turn to the person next to me and say, that dog will hunt. Taylor. Who got that from Chris Cody? I've heard Chris Cody say that.
It's my saying.
It's not your saying. It's everyone's saying. And it's all people who look like you.
Either that or let the big dog eat.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm sorry I can't make it. I have Tinoco.
I'm sorry. If you bet on the Devils to win a playoff game in the Bible Belt on Easter Sunday, what the hell were you thinking? Speaking of hell, Art Briles. Dan, those are the weekend observations.
Stugotz, I want to talk about the Lakers and I want to talk about the NFL draft. I know that people want to talk about these things, but you mentioned Taylor a couple of times there, and you also mentioned earlier in the show getting someone tickets. Who did you get tickets to? What?
I got Mike Ryan a couple of tickets for him and a few friends to the Sphere Dead & Company on Thursday night.
Okay, and so I have been sent a text here from an informed source writing, Stu said he got Mike Ryan tickets to Dead & Company. Mike Ryan had to pay for them. Can you say you got someone tickets if they had to pay for them?
Mike did have to pay for them, face value. I told him that up front. No, that's not really. I just, I had access to tickets that were face value, and I got them for him.
Okay, but the question being asked...
I didn't get him tickets. I didn't buy the tickets. He paid for the tickets.
To answer your question, Dan, if you are getting me face value tickets when only second market are available, that is a hookup. That is getting someone tickets. I would consider.
I agree. I think Stugotz got him tickets.
So a source here, though, writes in that he did this to me with Knicks Heat when I asked for tickets for my birthday. He sent me a guy's number, and the guy said, "What's your budget?"
Really exposed your source there, Dan.
Well, he sent him to his guy, though, right? His guy was supposed to take care of him. The source.
I'm simply asking you guys for a clarification on something he's being accused of here, because I don't know what the definition of this should be. He's saying he got Mike Ryan tickets. Mike Ryan may say, yes, he got me tickets. Those are hard tickets to get. I'm asking because he's being accused by text of just hooking up. He's hooking up people with a guy, but those tickets may or may not be hard to get if you have a budget.
I think there are two forms of getting someone tickets. You can get them tickets for free, which was not an option for Dead & Company at the Sphere, or you can get them tickets that only exist in the secondary market. I think that's still getting someone tickets. Like he had no other way of getting them.
Yeah, I think if tickets are incredibly difficult to get your hands on, I've been through this before, to be honest with you. If someone is able to set you up with someone who can then get you the tickets at a regular price, you got them tickets. Yeah.
LeBron James and Luka in the first round, they get beat up in the first game at home by a Minnesota team that we all know is going to be more athletic and more vibrant. And I heard after the game something that I was not expecting J.J. Redick to say. The Wolves physically caught us off guard. What was surprising about that? Like, the main flaw you have here is they're going to physically catch you off guard all series because their size is a problem.
Hopefully for the Lakers, next game, Rudy Gobert will be out with a case of Veneziano.
Journalist last night. Yeah, my thoughts exactly. Jeremy, who is an up-and-comer in the broadcasting game and is someone who has now journalistic credentials around, literal credentials around the Heat and the Marlins. Yesterday he was hosting. And this is one of the great things, Stugotz, this time of year. We get it so infrequently around here in South Florida. But South Florida has always done this well. The rest of the country always makes fun of, you guys don't care about that sports that much. You're bandwagon people. All right. Many of us are. Not everyone is. The loyalists are super loyal. But Miami does the bandwagon better than anybody. Miami does. Everyone now show up for the party. And so you have, stunningly, a hockey arena in the Everglades, like surrounded by airboats and alligators, filled with people to do the wave, watching the game on television. And at the Heat, across the street from us last night, Jeremy Tessier is watching the end of that game with a lot of people who are excited. And Stugotz, I'm getting a lot of this. Jimmy was out of bounds, and it ended up being a 3. That was a goaltend ref culture win. Okay, whatever. Tell it to the people who were yelling and screaming around Jeremy.
How about this? 1-1, we're coming home.
Okay, who's we?
Yeah, I took the Heat in 5. Anyone else?
Wow. He's right.
All right, the Knicks are watching this like everybody
2 rounds
else.
Ago.
It was a long time ago, understandably. Here's Jeremy Tessier not being a journalist while covering cheering. Again, an arena filled with people, but no players or athletes were there.
You're catching us right now as the Miami Heat have just won Game 2 of the NBA Finals. You can see that this crowd here is hoisting babies into the air. This crowd is ready from the moment this game started, and it has continued here as the Miami Heat have just upset the Denver Nuggets. We've got fans going crazy. We're high-fiving. Everybody's ready for an unbelievable night right here in Miami. The Kaseya Center was ready for a great night from the jump, as this energy around the entire lower bowl was electric from the moment this game started until the moment it ended. As we pan out to the rest of the crowd, you can see the entire lower bowl going absolutely crazy to end this game. The Miami Heat have just won it as Jamal Murray's shot has not gone in. I cannot believe what I've witnessed around me. There were moments in the fourth quarter where I couldn't hear myself think. I don't even know if you can hear me on the microphone. What a night at the Kaseya Center as the Miami Heat take their first game, their first win in Denver, and I know that this crowd right here is ready for an unbelievable party Wednesday night, Game 3 here in the Heat's house. Guys, we'll send it back to you in the studio.
Oh my gosh, Jeremy Taché doing that on one tank of oxygen.
Not a single breath taken. He was like one of those free divers that go down for 20 minutes at the bottom of the ocean. It was a record. And if you're listening just by audio and not watching, what you didn't see in that noise is there were 11 actual babies tossed in the air. Just infants.
Seems
that were
reckless.
It does, but hey, it's Game 2.
Right.
Wait till Game 7 of this thing.
Right.
11 babies, a fetus.
It's not going 7. I said 5. I mean,
That's right.
You did mention that.
Yeah.
The energy was actually insane. I don't remember any of that. I feel like I blacked out as that happened. It sounded like I was losing my voice. I wasn't losing my voice. I literally was just unhinged. I don't remember it. It was really amazing.
You blacked out. Excellent work by you, blacking out as a impartial observer of games.
Well, you can't be impartial if you're holding a microphone that says Heat TV.
My job
Right.
is sales
and
that
high-fiving.
You're
people.
emceeing.
Yeah.
Emceeing is really sales.
I'm
right.
there.
Yeah.
I'm there to make sure everybody's ready to be at games 3 and 4. I'm there to make sure that everybody is ready to be at the road rally. Bally Sports, the heart of the fan.
Put it on the poll, please, Juju, at Le Batard Show. Would the Zeller minutes look the same if you replaced him with a newborn giraffe?
Or that newborn baby that was being hoisted into the air.
The giraffe would just be more distracting. I feel like we'd have more success.
No,
It'd be
Zeller's
like,
plenty distracting.
Porter
He's right
Jr. would
now.
be like, why is there a giraffe on the court?
No. Listen to me. Zeller is a strong human being. He is a big human being. And when he starts balling around there.
I can't take my eyes off of him.
Well, no, nobody can. Nobody can. Jokic, you're hoping to distract Jokic. It's dangerous. It's like having a wrecking ball just move through the court, but it's like on a hinge that's not safe, and it's just swinging through, and you got to be careful because every once in a while they'll put one in with an offensive rebound, but everyone be careful because it might fly into the stands. The Zeller minutes are amazing. Yeah. They're a joy to watch.
Oh.
Ever since Tony pointed it out, those black shoes, they don't
it's
help.
The hair or lack of hair too. It's kind of disturbing.
No, it's also the mask, or just again. I've mentioned that it should be a retainer, a wire that runs outside of his mouth. It's just
like
all
ear to ear
that could impale someone.
And if not for a Theragun, that could be Dwayne Dedman.
Jeremy becomes Jeremy.
Award-winning Pablo Torre is going to join us here in a moment to elevate some of the things going on around here with his highfalutenness and to talk NBA playoffs, because I'm hoping he got sucked into the fun this weekend. He may be too busy doing other things to dabble in basketball because he's doing journalistic things, important things in the world. But before we get to Pablo, Zaslow, what is the issue? I feel like Mike Ryan and Chris Cody, peers of yours, guys you grew up with, you guys were all doing the same jobs at the same time. I feel like they feel judged by you, and there's some judgment in general going on around here about WrestleMania nerds.
Well, okay, they feel that I'm judging them. What? Like, what's their thought?
I don't know what's happening here around the WrestleMania. I think you're a passionate WrestleMania person, are you not?
Love pro wrestling, yes. I had a great weekend. It was WrestleMania weekend in the Zaslow Mansion. We all got together, all the Zaslow men, and we watched a lot of pro wrestling. How am I judging you?
Forgive me, I misunderstood the nature of the argument. Was there not somebody here who...
I'm judging them. They're nerds.
Okay,
I mean, get over it. Seriously.
Forgive me.
It's not real. I mean...
Really, that's what we're doing in the year 2025. That's what we're doing. It's not like, do you think you just educated someone by telling us it's whoa, it's not real?
Listen to me. If it's down the street from your house and you like wrestling, go to a wrestling event. You don't fly to Vegas for WrestleMania. Why? That's not what you do.
No, I mean, I didn't, but why?
It's fake. That's why.
Yes, okay, everybody
now
knows
wrestling
it's fake.
fans feel like they are experiencing something differently than we're experiencing it. No, we're not.
Can you answer me something? What is fake? What's the definition? What's fake? What's fake?
Them. Wrestling.
No, but okay, it's a show.
It's a show that you don't travel to Vegas for.
All right, but you go to Dead & Company, that's a show.
Yeah, but that's the only place they play. It's the only place I can go. Wrestling, they have wrestling events all over the country. If they have one down the street, go to it.
But this is the Super Bowl of wrestling.
Yeah.
That's the response?
Yeah. What WrestleMania is this?
41.
41. And it's the Super Bowl of wrestling.
Yeah.
Okay, when you watch the Super Bowl, you feel like you're watching a real people collide, real physicality, real results, right?
Right.
With wrestling, it's rigged.
Yeah, I understand. It's a show, though.
Yeah,
I get to watch my show
bad
in
show.
person. It's a bad show. They're like the greatest athletes in the world. There's no second takes, third takes. They do everything in one take. They're doing it all right in front of you. They're acting and performing incredible athletic feats right in front of you, live. No do-overs.
Wrestling is basically Broadway for dudes who won't admit that they like theater, right? Because, I mean, we're talking, it's a stage show with a bunch of acting and physical performances and storylines that you know how they're probably going to end up. But if you've never seen that stage production, then you don't know how it's going to go. So it's seeing a new Broadway show, right?
Here's my big problem, all right? Why is it, and this is you now, Stugotz, you're the guy. Why is it you feel the need to tell other grown-ups, like myself, now I wasn't there, but Mike Ryan was there, other grown-ups, why are you critical of other grown-ups enjoying something?
It's what I do.
Because that's what, but you're not the only one. Like, you're that representation here right now in front of me, but you're not the only one. Oh, you watch wrestling, you go to wrestling, you're an adult. Why can't you turn on WrestleMania this weekend? There were 60,000 people in attendance each night having a great time. What's wrong with people having a great time?
60,000 dorks. I mean, seriously.
It is odd that there's like a post-game press conference for a match that was predetermined.
My son was asking me last night, we were watching the post-press conferences, and he's like, are these real media people, real reporters?
There you go.
I said, yeah. Right. I go, I could get a credit. I could do that if I want. He goes, but they tell you what to ask, right? I go, no, ask whatever you want.
Smart kid.
Post-game presser for Jack Kelly and Newsies.
Pablo, you had trouble taking your glasses off there. I'm familiar with that particular fight through the headphones. What are your thoughts here as we bring you in as a skirmish breaks out between Zaslow and Stugotz about whether or not wrestling is fake?
Just realized that I've been shown this entire time struggling to both keep my glasses on and off and keep pace with whatever we're arguing about. Mike Schur's there, or was there. Mike Schur also went. I think Mike Ryan and Mike Schur both went to Vegas for this thing. The coalition of wrestling fans always surprises me as someone who wasn't one of them. I didn't know there were post-game pressers. I didn't know that was a thing. That's a thing? I've never seen a wrestler behind a microphone.
Chris Cody thought the coalition there was unnecessary. I'm just telling you, Pablo.
It's a coalition
Pablo,
of wrestling fans.
Pablo, here's what's happened. You
That's like
floated
a sixth grade word.
You're sixth grade. I mean.
Pablo, you have floated off into left field MSNBC land. You have no connection anymore.
This coalition of wrestling fans.
So, put it on the poll at Le Batard Show. Is coalition a sixth grade word at Le Batard Show? Because I think it is. I think you might be right here. I think you might get it dead on, and we're the idiots here.
I do like Chris, though, saying your sixth grade, which is a fifth grade reference.
Can we get, please, the sound and video of Mina Kimes on Celebrity Jeopardy? Because Pablo's most recent episode of Pablo Torre Finds Out is deep dive into, I don't believe there is another podcast anywhere in the space dominating game show talk the way that Pablo Torre is. Katie Nolan, Mina Kimes, and Pablo have all had like these amazing game show moments, all funny for different reasons.
In defense of Pablo, coalition is a sixth grade word.
That's just Chris Cody. We're trying to dumb it down for our executive producer.
I don't believe that.
And there you go. And that's exactly.
How do you know what words are sixth grade, by the way?
That's how arguments. That is how arguments
you go
go
to
nowadays.
sixthgrade.com. You'll see all the words.
Presented with alternate information. The person who was just told that it's a sixth grade word says, "I don't believe that." End of discussion. Case closed. Chris Cody wins the argument. America loses.
Sixthgrade.com, though. We should squat on that URL. There's a business here.
Let's just play for Pablo here. Mina Kimes. I don't recognize her, and I felt like this was extraordinary confidence to see from someone, Pablo, who I remember didn't know how to put on a headset on television. Her failing on a game show and leaning into it this way is crazy to me.
And you don't have to kick yourself, I think, because the way it worked out with Dave being the only one who knew final.
Listen, yeah, I would have been more mad if I had done the math wrong. And once I was like, all right, because that would have just been embarrassing. But, yeah.
Well, you made small wagers on who you ended up knowing on Nero, and then
scared money don't make money.
I just can't believe that.
The greatest.
I still can't believe it.
Which is better, the lean or the eyes at the very end?
The lean.
The most confident Mina was in her entire Celebrity Jeopardy semifinal was when she gave that post-game press conference answer to Ken Jennings about how unconfident she was in her strategy for daily doubles.
I have not seen how Pablo cut this up, but I assure you, I'm urging everyone in our audience to go see Pablo Torre Finds Out, or just listen to it if you don't want to see it, because I don't believe we've ever been able to laugh at Mina like that. And the circumstances of her doing math wrong or feeling like she kicked a field goal and was a chicken in a big situation. Like, you couldn't have written it in fiction better to go funnier if you and I were writing it.
No, beyond the fact that Dan ended up being able to have this weapon to just beat Mina over the head with in the post-game presser that we staged for her, was the fact that Mina, of course, could not do the thing. And this is her own self-awareness in the episode that Dan's referencing. She realizes that after a career spent telling NFL coaches to go for it on fourth down, she punted. She just repeatedly punted throughout the game and didn't realize it until this taping we did, in which she had to reckon with how unbelievably cosmically cursed it is to be her on NFL Live and her in this episode of Celebrity Jeopardy. It is remarkable, and you cannot script it. It's true.
Let's talk about the NBA from the weekend. Which of the things did you find most interesting if you had to choose only one?
The Nuggets being the Clippers. I think that the whole experiment with we're going to fire our head coach, fire our GM, leave it in the hands of Nikola Jokic, whose on-off numbers are incredible, has made me more intrigued by this team than any one other team in this postseason, because all I want to do is you put a little box of me in the bottom right-hand corner of the screen. I just want a little box with Mike Malone in it during these games. What's it like to be him?
That's good television.
What's it like to be him?
I'd watch this. Let me ask you about the end of that game.
I want a box of Nico watching Laker games.
Okay, this is good stuff. Yes, basketball should evolve into that as a narrative-based sport that loves the stories and the drama. You're absolutely right. That's the next evolution. But walk me through the end of regulation, Nuggets, Clippers. If you guys did not see this, the way they guarded Westbrook was crazy. On average, 9.6 feet away from him. Go ahead. You're the worst three-point shooter in the history of the league. You're aging poorly. Shoot all the threes you want. We're going to respect you less than Tony Allen, than anybody. 10 feet off him. End of the game situation. Stugotz, what are the Nuggets going to do? Well, obviously, it's going to be Jokic and Murray. Jokic and Murray. Oh, no, Westbrook has the ball. Oh, no, oh, my God, throw it off someone's foot. Out of bounds. Nuggets win anyway. Headlines. Westbrook attack mode wins for the Nuggets. And I'm like, not.
Almost lost it for the Nuggets.
One game maybe because you got the best player anyone's ever seen on earth, but you will not beat them 4 times that way. So your thoughts there, Pablo, because Westbrook mode at the end of games is an insanity.
Well, this is why I want Mike Malone in the little box. I want the Mike Malone cast because part of the reason he got fired, we were told, was because he played Russell Westbrook in the fourth quarter too much. Like, Mike Malone was watching the reason he got fired result in a headline that praised the team that he got fired from coaching for doing the thing they did, only to win a playoff game in overtime. It's incredible. Like, the Russell Westbrook thing, I mean, man, I two things are true, and this is always true about Russell Westbrook. He is the guy who will dribble the ball off of his foot or whatever into Zubatz's arms at the end of regulation, and he'll also be the guy that will make you think, oh my God, this is Russell Westbrook aggression mode. And yes, he has so much more left in the tank than you think. But also, what a nightmare. What a nightmare to just watch someone else get praise for the thing you got fired for doing. It is remarkable.
So, yes, we all saw that apparently it was a big point of contention that Malone would play Westbrook too much. He would play him in the fourth quarter. But don't we now have to question the validity to that if in the first playoff game of the season, the interim coach plays him the whole fourth quarter?
34 minutes.
Like, wouldn't you be doing the opposite? Because, you kind of want to get the job next year and not do the thing that apparently got Mike Malone fired, right?
I mean, it's a good question. If the GM had not also gotten fired. Like, I don't even know what's happening over there. I don't know who's in charge. I genuinely have no idea. I don't know who they're supposed to please. I think we're supposed to realize that Russell Westbrook in the fourth quarter bad until it was good in this playoff game, I guess, because they won. And also in terms of who's running the team, Zaz, yeah, I don't know. We're also running that experiment. Who's your boss? I don't really know. I guess Jokic is, or Jokic's brother is at this point. Sure. Or his agent is, which we've also heard. It's very, very confusing.
Juju, put it on the poll, please, at Le Batard Show. Did you have a friend today who was too eager to tell you the Pope had died? At Le Batard Show. And also, I don't think that we should move too far past the fact ever when talking about Jokic that his brothers are much bigger than he is. I just want to put that out there. They're going to make a return at some point during this postseason, I assure you. Please do not take your eye off the ball. James Harden is saying, yes, I'd prefer Shai Gilgeous-Alexander for MVP. But we all know, of course, the best player in the world is that guy over there. That guy we're all on board with. Yes, of course, he's the number one.
Because of the Netflix show, the top 5 where they go around starting 5 or whatever, my wife was introduced to Jokic. She's like, oh, so he doesn't care about basketball, but he's the best player. I'm like, yes. And then she started learning, started watching the games this season. And then I showed her a picture of the brother. And I was like, that guy's his brother. And she's like, no, there's no way. That's enhanced, right? He's made bigger on purpose on Photoshop.
He looks like Kingpin.
I'm like, no, he's like 3 times bigger than Jokic is. And Jokic is 7 feet tall and 290 pounds.
Yeah, he looks a bit like a Greco-Roman wrestler who also was in the world's strongest man competition, throwing kegs of beer over a wall. Yes.
His brother, Jokic's brother, makes Jokic look like Yao made Shaq look. Like, you need just that level
It just
of
doesn't make
scale
sense.
to appreciate.
I'm telling you, it visually does not make sense. If you're someone who does not know and has no sense of proportion, and I didn't tell you, one of these people is the best basketball player in the world right now. He's the small one. People would say, well, he's 6 foot and quick, right? Or he's 5. Jokic is 5. He's 5'10". He's a point guard, right? No.
Have you guys seen that photo of Tiny Jeff Passan from that set? He was on a baseball. He was on set doing some ESPN baseball broadcast, and he looks tiny. You guys know what I'm talking about?
We have
alone
our
in tiny
own
Jeff
version. We have
Passan?
our own version of Amin doing one of those, and we have Billy and Stugotz sitting with Derrick Henry as well.
Oh, right,
where we
right,
play
right,
with
right.
the proportions of people. I wanted to ask you about something that happened during the Celtics game yesterday, where Tatum goes down. Mazzulla says to the trainer, "Don't go out there," and Tatum is writhing around, and Mazzulla's just like, "Get up." What is that?
It's playoff time.
No, but it's playoff time. But I also got Tony coming in here tonight saying, "Hey, is Derek White better than Jaylen Brown?"
Is he?
Joe Mazzulla is. I don't want to diagnose anybody from afar, but he has something in his brain, circuitry-wise, that is just very different. And the only thing I can compare it to is that there is a group of guys in sports, we did an episode about this actually, who all have tattoos of the Joker on their body, not Jokic, obviously, but like the Joker from The Dark Knight. And Joe Mazzulla is one of these guys who idolizes that sort of a character, which is to say there are people who see being a sociopath as being virtuous and like good strategy. And that is an incredible photo of Billy next to Derek.
That has to be one of the funniest.
Jesus Christ. It's like a Polly Pocket.
That's a running back.
I thought that's what you were thinking of. Derrick Henry is Trump's size and weight.
Oh
This
my
photo
God.
has to be doctored. Like that is so
No,
ridiculous.
Billy did that on purpose. The reason he put his chair down that low. So look, do you guys understand that every single person who meets me thinks I'm 5'9" because my chair was down to sit next to my father? So like Billy just moved his chair down.
Well, Dan is right. Billy came up with the idea to move both our chairs down and keep Derrick Henry's at the same height. And so
History is not going to know that context, and that was a terrible decision by Billy Gill.
He is Derrick Henry is he was listed last week by us at 6'3", 245 pounds, I believe. So, but Pablo, when it comes to what it is that you were watching, you were talking about Mazzulla because this is a really unusual coach. Stugotz, look, can we just stop for a second and find it really weird that a young guy we were making fun of that was about a second or two from being fired as a laughingstock from the Celtics because he managed to lose to the Heat,
8 seed.
now is a champion, and not just a champion, but he's a champion who behaves in like really unusual ways, and really young, and I think empirically strange. Like, what is it?
Incredibly strange.
I think the whole Celtic thing is strange. The reaction to them winning, people not taking them seriously, people not talking about Jason Tatum.
Look, but in that town, when you're young, brilliant wizard, you get to be Theo Epstein. You get to be brilliant for all time. Are we saying that this is brilliant for all time, or are we saying this is circuitry that we don't understand and, well, he's winning, so therefore he's our back?
I'm saying that he forced Jason Tatum to watch The Dark Knight with him and to focus on Heath Ledger's The Joker for inspiration. I just think there's a type of guy, and Mazzulla might even be just weirder than even this one data point, but there's a type of guy who isn't just like, wow, this guy's a really hardcore, like, high energy, or not even high energy, just all-consuming coach guy. He's the guy who thinks Heath Ledger's Joker is a hero. I don't know how often I can just keep repeating this, but that's literally insane. You're idolizing an insane person, which would make me think that you are also an insane person, just by the laws of, logic.
But if you win, we'll assign winner to you. It doesn't matter how strange you. Phil Jackson was strange. He won a lot. Belichick, strange, won a lot.
Oh, no, but what? No, wait a minute, though. What we won't do, though, if you give us totally strange and we almost fired you, because we all remember that this was very close to not being allowed to go even one more season. It wouldn't have been, if the Celtics had indeed fired him, no one would have been surprised. No one. And to go from that to, they won the championship easily, and he's super unusual, and they're young and good enough that that's, a team that can obviously knock off OKC because they've been there before and OKC hasn't. And then you've got a two-time champion on your hands, and we don't get to reverse engineer this. Belichick, we saw become a genius. Like, we saw it happen. We watched it. Theo Epstein saw it, watched it. Young, strange person doesn't get to be eternal genius. We saw the formative years. We saw too much at the beginning. No? Do I have it wrong?
I think, look, Missoula as a coaching prospect, what Stugotz is saying is fundamentally like directionally correct, which is that at a certain point, if you're going to be the guy who's winning all of these titles and being in the conference finals and the finals every single year, we're going to just not think too deeply about the fact that, yes, you watch the town like 4 times a day or whatever it is, that you have these press conferences where you don't seem to exist on the same like emotional, psychological wavelength as anybody else. It's ends justify the means, which I guess in that case is exactly the lesson of the Joker.
Does that mean I'm right? I mean, fundamentally, directionally.
The reason I want to
say I'm right.
Before I move to Lakers,
you're in the direction of right. I wouldn't say you're necessarily
fundamentally.
It's a coalition of people who are directionally.
Sure. Yes.
You're pointed toward it. But before I get to the Lakers portion of this, when it comes to the Celtics, I do think it becomes hard to make some of the appraisals because the starting point is all of these people seem to be better than I thought they were. All of them. Like, it's across the roster, coaching, so I would have to concede I'm wrong about everything I thought. And if I'm wrong about everything I thought, where do I put the credit? I know, the strange coach who's at the front of all of it. And I saw it when it wasn't every guy is better than all the others, that it needed to get rid of Marcus Smart and add a 7'3" Lego person to it. And now every bit of them is better than any of us thought they were. And so the appraisal becomes, you can begrudgingly say, holy shit, they beat the respect out of me. I was wrong.
But the thing about, it goes back to the Mike Malone in the little box thing, though. Like, we're testing actively what it means to not have a coach during a playoff run, effectively. And you're right, Dan, like, there is no real good statistic. There's no good analytics for coaches because they exist in the realm of motivation, because they exist in the realm of, hey, watch this movie scene, this is going to inspire you, because they exist in the realm of like press conference theater. And so, yes, it's very easy to ascribe everything we can't calculate to them, except for when, in the case of Denver, like they're basically saying, we don't really need this. And now you give it to Westbrook, which is how it is that the NBA is both a league of math and the opposite at the same time.
Mike Malone cam is such a good idea. What other cams like that could I give you for the playoffs that you guys
Nico cam.
That's number one.
That
Nico's
would enjoy?
Yeah,
but Mike Malone cam is really good. Like Taylor Jenkins is enjoying the holy hell out of yesterday, right?
No one wants a Taylor Jenkins cam.
No,
we can agree.
But I'm saying just him like up him just, celebrating them down by 50,
Well, do you think he sits there and watches the game at home? Or does he just check his phone, checks the box score?
But even that's funny if he's just sort of walking around, if he's at like a bar mitzvah and he's just sort of checking his phone or
How about Riley during Warrior games?
Oh, man. That's a good cam, too.
That might be second best.
That's
really
good.
That's
a good
I just like the idea of Taylor Jenkins being out at a bar mitzvah or an event and just rolls up on someone into the third quarter and, Grizzlies are down by 50. See you score the game.
Do I have this wrong?
Down
I know
53.
I snuck it in there. Did you guys have any friends who were a little too eager to tell you today that the Pope had died overnight?
A lot of them Jewish. I don't know what that's supposed to be.
Tony got on me today.
No.
So Ethan comes in, Jeremy and Zaz are like, hey, the Pope died. I'm like, okay.
Mike, the Pope died. Hey, look, man, it's the news. When J.D. Vance kills the Pope, you got to tell someone about it.
Wait, didn't Peter King do this with Robin Williams? You guys remember that story? Peter King wrote that column where he talked about how he told a restaurant host that Robin Williams had died. This was like the lead of his column, and took like very strange pleasure in telling him that Robin Williams had died in a particularly unfortunate way. How am I the only one who remembers this?
You're alone now on an island. You're going to have to swim us to safety.
That and the passing photo.
All right, let's everyone jump on his back. We'll help you as much as we can, but you're unprepared for what it is that you're presently doing. If you have a story, we'll play with you, but you're going to have to find the details.
I got it. Get off me. All right, before I drown. All right, here we go. Milwaukee, -- asked restaurant host, : God, did you hear about Robin Williams? ? Host, no. Me. Died. He killed himself. End quote. thought he would cry. At SI_Peter King, August 12th, 2014.
What?
Yep. Different time.
I'm the only one who remembers Peter King. Okay, very good. Just going to return to the bottom of the ocean now. See you guys later.
The King's disease.
Gout.
Let me grab the steering wheel here. We were just talking about yesterday was a big holiday. A lot of people were celebrating 420. And so now we're going to celebrate 420 with our friends at Jimmy John's. This 420 segment with Pablo is sponsored by Jimmy John's. They're finally here, and they're hot. Try the new toasted sandwiches at Jimmy John's. Order one today.
This looks really good.
I got a couple questions for Pablo. I know he's got a top 5. We'll start with a lot of people do this in golf. Your ideal foursome for a golf. Give me your ideal rotation, Pablo. You and 3 other people. Your dream.
My mouth is watering.
Dream guest.
Living or dead?
Mine too.
That can be alive or dead.
Oh, I mean, Bill Walton, number 1, obviously.
Solid.
Good one.
Can I draft 4 Bill Waltons?
Nope, you get 1 Bill Walton.
You can have Luke.
All right. I don't know if I want Luke. Speaking of
these sandwiches are so
coaches
good.
that I'm not sure.
My
Very
God.
good.
Yeah.
Nice and warm.
It is a good sandwich. And we can be snobs in Miami about our sandwiches.
Yeah. Who's the next one after Walton?
Yeah, this is cruel. I'm going to stay with UCLA. I'm going to go Kareem. Kareem's a stoner, guys. He does. He's on the record.
And finally?
He's on the record.
Did you see? Did it make you as sad at all seeing him show up to the tribute for Jackie Robinson? A giant wheelchair, so difficult to move around. People that size, it's kind of stunning to see him still moving around at that size.
Verging a bit on the Peter King vibes with that comment, Dan. We're trying to have a fun power ranking of guys I want to smoke weed with, and he brought it to a real dark place.
That's what he does.
It's the sandwich. They're making me crazy. The sandwich. I've got to leave. I've got to leave the room. It smells too good. This weekend it was the meat. Like you can't keep. I cannot eat these things.
We'll get you a JJ's out there.
Yeah, I want.
Who's next? So did you finish your list here?
So
someone sent me someone sent me a photo of Ricky Williams, noted friend of Meadowlark Media.
Yeah.
At a pool in Austin. Not to like dox Ricky Williams, but he was wearing the Apple Vision Pro and sitting at a table by himself. And Ricky Williams is my third pick.
That's a strong 4 right there.
What about me?
He's been there, done that.
Several times.
We have.
Pablo,
Rolling it.
what top 5 do you have for us?
I have the top 5 athlete weed names in sports history.
Give it to us.
OLI. Al Leiter.
Stugotz is writing it down.
Number 5. LeGarrette Blount.
Strong if that's number 5.
Okay.
Number 4. John Danks.
Oh, wow. Really
Thanks.
good.
That is good.
White Sox lefty.
Yeah. Thank you, Pablo.
Lefty.
Still a White
Number
Sox,
3.
I think he was a righty.
I think he was. There might have been another Danks actually.
I think Danks. The Danks you're talking about is a righty, I believe.
A reliever, right?
No, the Danks he's talking about is a lefty. John Danks.
Wow.
Yeah.
Who am I thinking of? Jeremy, tell me who I'm thinking of.
Bobby Jenks.
There it is. Bobby Jenks.
Bobby
That's what it is.
Also a White Sox closer.
Yes.
Probably also enjoys weed. Though,
That's who I was thinking of.
Probably
based on
does.
various.
Thank you for telling me who I was thinking of.
Yeah, you're welcome.
What are you basing that on? Just be clear.
Feels like he's a guy who enjoys a Jimmy John's every once in a while.
Fair.
You know.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Okay.
He'd be in the rotation.
No,
if
they
he
talk
wanted to
about
be.
the sandwiches. Don't sleep on Jimmy John's chips. Their chips are strong. The cookies, the chips. It's, a nice complete meal here with JJ's.
What kind of chips you got there, Chris?
Going with the little barbecue flavored chips here. Here, listen to this crunch. Solid. Number 4.
I got salt and vinegar.
We're at number 3.
Number 3.
But that sound of Chris eating those chips makes me want to hit the June Kuhn Bong.
Excellent.
See what you did there.
How you spelling that, Stugotz?
BONG.
Not wrong. He's directionally correct on that as well.
Fundamentally.
Fundamentally directionally correct. Number 2, Tree Rollins.
Excellent. staple on my list.
I feel like we've hit all the ones. Like, what could be number one be?
Number one, J.R. Smith.
Yep.
Checks out.
No Manute Bol or Bol, huh?
Pablo, any thoughts on the Luka piece that just dropped by Tim McMahon?
Yeah, I mean, so I just scarfed down like so many Jimmy John's barbecue chips. This like 5,000 word Tim McMahon piece. Tim is incredibly plugged in to this team over at ESPN. He just tells the story of how there is so much more to why this has fallen apart. A lot of it having to do with the medical staff. A lot of it having to do with Nico Harrison installing his own people who are in charge now of the bodies of these players, breaking the trust of Dirk Nowitzki and this guy, Casey Smith, who is like the NBA's highly regarded medical trainer, one of the best in the league, the guy in Dallas. It just seems like when it comes to a coalition, you might even say, that you need when you make a trade like this, Nico Harrison doesn't have it. And it's just incredible palace intrigue, man. All around like injuries, all around Dirk and Luka basically in communication about why they shouldn't trust this guy. And it is something that you don't want to read if you're a fan of the Dallas Mavericks, who just traded for Anthony Davis, whose body, you may have heard, is in need of medical attention. Not a great thing to know that your medical staff is internally feuding. And also, you messed up the worst transaction in the history of sports. Not great.
Zaslow, I saw over many years what morning radio did to you. It
What did it do?
It
aged you.
Yeah, it aged you a great deal. Pablo last week had to do a week. He starred on morning television. I want to ask him in a second about Pete Hegseth's general awful around Jackie Robinson and all things at DEI, but can you give Pablo some words of advice on what mornings might do to him?
Oh my God, Pablo, like you have a choice whether or not to do mornings. I would tell you, don't do evenings along with it, because I did evenings into mornings for 7 consecutive years. That was troublesome. I used to have a nice head of hair, all right, and now I have no hair on this beautiful head. And the little hair that I do have is very gray, all right? Don't work nights if you're going to do mornings. That's really the best advice I can give.
I have Zaz like Noah Wiley in the pit, like just that. But then at the end of his shift, he's lost all of his hair due to stress.
Good show, by the way. I watched that
Great
last
show.
week. Good show.
What do you have for me most recently on Hegseth?
Just that they're the Dallas Mavericks, the Defense Department of the United States of the U.S. government. Every news story that involves, oh, by the way, they just cleaned house. They just fired like his entire cabinet over at DOD, followed by, oh, by the way, he's also been on a separate signal chat with his brother and his wife and his personal attorney on his personal cell phone, which he's talking about yet more airstrikes. All of it just makes me think of how his only defense for any of this so far, in writing at least, has been to reply to like the @Democrats Twitter account talking about how the reason that you're against me is because you're in favor of DEI and DEI is dead at the Department of Defense. And all I can think about is how there is no greater example of truly unqualified incompetence and overall fraudulence than this guy. This guy is the ultimate affirmative action hire. He is the guy that they hired because they wanted to put a literal Fox News weekend host up there, and has proven in 3 months that he is totally unqualified for this job. Like, the next time you hear anybody in this administration yell about DEI, and by the way, I'm not saying that DEI didn't have its excesses, didn't have its own mistakes when it came to what it became by 2025, but the next time you hear anybody from this administration tell you about DEI, just know that they should be looking into a goddamn mirror and seeing the face of Pete Hegseth, who has stepped on a series of rakes that is unprecedented, truly unprecedented when it comes to the American military and how the Department of Defense has been run. It is unbelievable. And it would be hilarious if it wasn't also the thing trying to keep all of us literally alive.
All right. Excellent dismount. Good talking to you. Thanks for all your time and all your hard work on Pablo Torre Finds Out. It is it really is. It deserves all the awards that it gets. Thank you, Pablo. Good seeing you. Good talking to you.
I'd like a sandwich next, though.
They're really good,
So
man. I'm going a little bit crazy here, looking at this one, smelling this one. I wanted to ask you before we got out of here for this segment, Stugotz. I saw on Apple Plus TV a documentary about the World Series last year.
When your internet was working.
Yes. Yes. Good call. Yes.
Last week.
It was last week, back during really my glory days of internet.
Better times.
Yes. The weekend, it was a calamity. But
it was gangster.
I did see last week that there is an
badly for you.
Apple Plus documentary on the Dodgers winning the World Series last year. Yeah. And I don't know if you've seen, Apple has a ton of options on what it can make, and it makes some really prestige television, and it can choose whatever it wants with all of the money in the world, and it's choosing some giant brands, right? 10-part series on the Patriots, Magic Johnson, like just big things. So they do the World Series because they've got their big Friday package, and it is executive produced by Derek Jeter. And so I'm wondering how that felt, taking that money for Jeter, celebrating the Dodger championship over his Yankees that had a just giant explosion in the World Series. Aaron Judge drops a fly ball, and now you've agreed to executive produce a series in which you're going to celebrate eternally the Dodgers beating your franchise when you're the greatest of rivals that there is in that sport.
Were Yankee fans upset with him? They had to be.
Well,
That's 20 shares for Boomer and Gio.
I don't know whether they're upset with him. I'm just asking the rest of you. Derek Jeter clearly made a deal with Apple before that series. And his name is executive producer on Watch the Dodgers. Hey, here's Freddie Freeman. Oh, my God, the most heartbreaking home run Yankee fans have ever felt. Executive produced by Derek Jeter.
Grand slam.
No? Somebody want to ask him about that? Does he need the money after ripping us off down here?